Fight, 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 fight.
Hypocrisy.
You're my lawyer?
Says here you robbed a hospital. Why'd you do that?
Yeah, I'm not guilty.
That's not what the other lawyer said.
Hey, what's up, guys? Welcome to Lawsplaining the Interwebs. I am your host, Nick Rekieta of Rekieta Law, a small law firm in central Minnesota. Although this is actually, I should say, I am your host, Nick Rekieta, CEO of Rekieta Media LLC, a small media company based out of East Texas. This is not Rekieta Law. This is definitely Rekieta Media. And don't you fucking forget it. That's right. That's right. So how's it going, guys? I've got these headphones on, but I don't need them yet. We will be joined allegedly by good Lawgic in a few minutes. I just sent him the link. It's not his fault, although I'm going to blame him and hold him personally accountable for everything. But hopefully he'll be over. He just wrapped up his show, so he probably has to go, like, go to the bathroom. You wouldn't want to, like, accidentally fart on a stream or something. You certainly wouldn't want to go. Let me step away for a minute. Like, you wouldn't want to do anything like that. That would be just downright embarrassing. But anyway, welcome to the show tonight. We are still over here on the media channel, because allegedly I'm being held responsible for someone else's actions, which, again, the internet is a marvelous place. It's a marvelous place. So yesterday I spent a good amount of time, because I do things transparently. I've tried to always be transparent about what's going on with me, what's going on with the channel. Like, this channel is, in a lot of ways, it's a product, right? And you guys are the consumers or whatever. So the neat thing about this product is that you guys have some input over it that is direct. We get to converse about how it's developing, if it's going the right way. And you guys can give me input, good or bad or whatever, in real time. But let's be honest here. One of us is the professional who knows what they're doing, and the other one is you, and the other one is me. But not all advice and criticisms are taken, and given credibility, because they're not. Frankly, a lot of them are bad and wrong. And trust me, if the professional streamer were to just let the chat run the show, the chat would end up hating the show. It's a rule of broadcast, and it's the Limbaugh law, right? When you let the show be run by rank amateurs like Open Line Friday, it was the biggest risk in all of broadcasting, because the people never know what they actually want. But anyway, so in the spirit of all of this, I try to be transparent with what's going on. So yesterday I talked a little bit about the YouTube banning, and I made the the apparently, what is this stray hair? Apparently true statement. I say apparently true because it's the information that I've gotten directly from YouTube. And I pointed out that I am being held responsible for something they didn't tell me what, that someone, they didn't tell me who, said in the chat. That is part of the overall the ban, or the strike on the channel. And the magic of the internet is someone out there who does not I don't know, process normal human interaction, has considered that as me blaming the chat. Like that I'm mad at the chat or something like that about that. That is the dumbest thing I've ever heard, the dumbest theory I've ever heard. I'm not mad at the chat for having an open discussion. That's part of like what I try to do on the channel, is to allow open discussion. It's why the only thing that we end up timing people out for is spam. It's not about the different ideas that people bring. It's not about what they say. It's just spam detracts from other people's ability to engage, and that's the main problem with it. And it's not generally that much of a problem. It's just a discourteous annoyance, and that's, we don't ban people for it. Just time them out and say, hey, please don't spam. You can say whatever you want. You can talk about my big giant nose, my stupid hair, my dumb face, my dumb ideas. It doesn't matter what you say about me or anything else. It's just a matter of, are we communicating these ideas, or are we just screaming into the void like a dumb motherfucker named Eris? I don't know which one it is, but the spamming thing doesn't help. So that's the only rule, and the rule exists. The reason that's the only rule is because I want people to talk about things. So I'm not mad at the chat. It's not the chat's fault that YouTube had a stupid, arbitrary enforcement on me because of someone else saying something. That's not me being mad at the chat. I can't possibly be mad at the chat for having open conversation. That would be hypocritical and stupid. And it's not. First of all, you'd have to get real. Like you have to really get into the circumcision questions, right? Or something like that, to get me really fired up over a chat comment. Most of them, it's just people talking, and that's what I want to see. So I, and the other thing, I can't even be mad because I don't even know who it was or what they said. So there's no possibility of target. Me explaining what's going on is not me blaming anybody other than YouTube. YouTube bears all of the blame in this situation because I didn't break the rule. I just didn't break the rule. And I don't care what chat says. Chat can't break the rule. For me, if chat breaks the rule, like if a chat member breaks a rule, YouTube has all of the ability in the world to police what's said. Hell, your messages get deleted by YouTube all the time. So if they don't like what's being said, they have an AI bot that monitors the chat. That should be their entire enforcement mechanism. And now if someone in the chat is violating a rule, like saying, I'm gonna rape and kill you, you piece of shit, or whatever, and YouTube wants to deal with that, they should take action against that account. Like that's how that should be handled. So the reason I brought it up at all yesterday is because this is a rumor I've heard about. It's a rumor I've heard about because there's the allegation that someone could make a malicious account to go into someone's live stream and spam a bunch of stuff and get that person in trouble. But I've never actually seen more than the rumor about that possibility. So the reason I brought it up yesterday has everything to do with letting people know that, yeah, this happened. It actually happened here. I don't know that it happens in all circumstances. I can't imagine, because I've seen you guys and you're degenerate. Like you talk about some pretty gross things, right? And many of you should be banned from life. But it doesn't happen. So I don't know how they do the enforcement. There's something to it. I just wanted to point out that it literally did happen. And that was shocking to me, because I try and defer. Like, oh, this is a conspiracy theory, or this is something that people are saying this, but I mean, that's really dumb. So I can't imagine they're actually doing it. And then they did. So, So yeah, by the way, before Joe gets here, I do I do want to do something. I'm going to add another moderator on the show here, someone who I see in chat quite a bit, and who kind of, I don't want to say does moderation stuff already, but is very encouraging. So I'm adding the Cinema Queen to the moderation team. So just so everybody knows, now the Cinema Queen is officially gay, because if you're a mod, you're gay. And sorry, like, it's just the rules of reality. It's not anybody's fault. Like, but yeah. Also came strongly recommended from a different moderator. And while the chat has no respect for moderators, and no one should, I am wrong about things, and I sometimes listen to them. So there you go. Why not Andrew War Snowboard? Is he not a mod? I think he is on the other channel. But yeah. So as a final reminder, and I hate sitting and dwelling on this stupid subject. And no, Attorney Tom will never be a mod. Attorney Tom is not gay. You guys have to understand. So he can't be a mod. Attorney Tom is a weirdo. There's a big difference between being a gay and being a weirdo, and that is that Attorney Tom gets stepped on at anime conventions. So, I mean, that's not a gay thing. That's a whole different level of problem that we're talking about. Take law out of the channel, fam, at autofills before media? What do you mean, take law out of the channel? I don't know what you're talking about. So anyway, yeah, I don't want to dwell. Look, I've spent good chunk of 2 different shows talking about the banning. I'm still waiting to hear if anything's going to be done or overturned on this. The streams on the regular channel should be back on Friday, I believe, which is just 2 days away. So it's just one more stream over here, and then hopefully, we'll be resuming with some new guests who have not been on the show before. Speaking of guests, I was just a guest earlier on Quarter Black Garrett's show. We talked about Event Horizon for a couple hours, and then we talked about a lot of other stuff. Really like Quarter Black. Good dude. Go check out his channel here on the YouTubes. And yeah, he's I thought we had a really great show. I thought we had a really great show over there. And I love Event Horizon, great movie, and stuff like that. So okay. So what do you guys want to talk about today? I do have to say, I am okay. 14 minutes ago, Joe says, give me 15 minutes. So he's got 1 minute left. 1 minute left before this really gets down. I don't believe he's going to make it. We're going to let's see. Got to talk about repealing the 8th. Yeah, there you go. Let's talk about your gay mug, bro. Why are you drinking out of that mug? This is a Captain America mug. How dare you? I was gonna do that. Well, I don't see Dragon's Treasure in here, so it's his fault. I was going to specifically advertise a tea from the Dragon's Treasure tonight, but I forgot what it's called. It's like the Divine something. It's really good. Like, it's stupidly good. Man, it's delicious. So it's good. You guys should check out the Dragon's Treasure. It's you know, a haven for tea and not anime lovers anymore because all of the anime stuff got him in trouble or something. Um, I see that Nerdrotic is going on Tim Pool. Someone's asking me to have Nerdrotic hassle Tim Pool about having me on. I don't have a particular like desire to go on Tim Pool. Let me put it this way. My desire to go on Tim Pool's show would be entirely business, and that's not enough motivation for me to be like, oh, it'd be great, right? Going on Tim Pool and getting the exposure. But at the same time, like Tim does his show, uh, he's fine or whatever. I have criticisms of him. I have criticisms of everybody, especially me. But I'm not like I don't have some burning desire to get on some other show for exposure. I've been building this show this way for 3 years, and it's going great. It's going great. So I don't want to go like to the compound. I don't know how that would even work or whatever. It's really hard for me to get out of the house and stuff like that, and I don't have any desire to do like this chain of asking. If someone wants me on their show, they can certainly talk to me, and I'm happy to go pretty much anywhere, but I try not to impose myself on other shows. That's not really my style, except for Quarter Black show, but only because he asked who he should talk to about movies, and I didn't know if he knew that I like to talk about movies. So I did say, hey, you should talk to me. You should do that. Um, so yeah. Like I said, I love to go on shows when I have time. Uh, absolutely. That's really my main criteria is is it an interesting enough subject that we can have a good conversation, and do I have time? It does the timing work out. If those two become yes, I tend to go on shows. So that's cool. Um, what else is going on? We do have some super chats I should get to here. Oh, I mentioned before the stream as a joke, because this was just a joke about me not starting the stream on time, but I saw someone not know what I was talking about. I said, guys, I don't know, this rate, we're not going to make the best goal. We're not going to do it. We're not going to make the best goal, and we're not going to hit the streak. It's going to be a big problem. That is a reference to Dark Side Phil. I don't have a vest goal. I don't have a vest. The only time I ever did a vest goal was I had to wear my son's vest. It's a super tight thing. I felt like Bear Grylls squeezing into the corpse of a seal. So that was just a joke. That's what Dark Side Phil has is a monetary goal to get to, and this is a common stream. Like, he gets a lot of shit for this. This is a common stream thing. There are a bunch of streamers who have like a little bar graph at the bottom, and it's like, oh, the progress towards my goal of getting money is like, that's weird to me. It's always been weird to me. I think it helps with donations or something, but I don't understand it. It feels very, very artificial. I'm not a fan. But DSP has a vest goal. It's like $200 or something. And then he puts on a vest. That's the big reward you get, is he puts on a vest. And it's why he's, why he's the king, why he's the chief. But above everything, he's the most hip hop top cat. Matthew Harder says, tell Frisbee Hat I miss Grampy Grift. His pops literally said in Jew voice, I will gladly answer your questions in the form of the super chats. Wait, his dad said that on his show? That's great. That's fantastic. A progress bar to the next drink could be fun, but I don't do drinks for money. I do drinks for likes, like, because I don't play, like, I'm not above it. I'm not opposed to it. It just feels weird and artificial. And I've told you guys this a billion times, and it's really true. I'm the worst salesman on the planet. I'm not good at being a salesman. I've never been good at doing that. And so, like it feels weird. It's like, oh, okay. Every X amount of dollars I'm going to drink. I mean, we did that as, half as a joke on the Good Lawgic drinking stream or whatever, but I don't actually like to do that much. It's weird. So I do it as likes because everybody can participate. There's no monetary weirdness to it, right? It's not such a sale. So that's why I do likes. It makes me feel a little bit less of a whore. A little bit less of a whore, just a tiny bit. Anyway. Oh, and I am still on steroids. I'm still on steroids as well from for my lung. I've got 5 days of steroids. Today I'm feeling them a little more. I'm a little bit okay. All right. Okay. A little pumped up, a little bit more awake. So that's good. That's good. Bad Vibes says buy stock in burn cream. Sales just went through the roof tonight because Rackets is a flamethrower. Wait a minute. Are you referring to a very, very specific instance that I'm definitely going to talk about while we wait for Joe? Let's do it. Let's do it. So, we're going to do it this way. Vito Gesualdi is the co-host of The Biggest Problem in the Universe with Dick Masterson. He's an occasional guest on the Dick Show. Vito's a pedophile. There we go. That is the most important takeaway from this. That is the most important. So I'll briefly go through this Twitter drama of what happened. And then we'll I don't know. So this Twitter drama is always weird to go through on stream, but well, I'm tired today. So here's the chain of events. This is very important to the world. The world needs to know. So the Koofianist, Dick Masterson, says, hello, base department Vito Gesualdi. And he posted a screenshot. They were approaching $2,000 a month on Patreon, which is, that's a good place to be. It's a once a week show. That's good, good return on input, and their show is growing. So that's, I'm happy about that. But he did say hello, base department. And so I said the only thing Vito Gesualdi is based in is butter. A joke about basting, which is a different spelling, but about basting things in butter. And also a joke. God, I fucking hate that. Also a joke about him being literally made out of butter because he's a fat fucking degenerate pile of butter. So that being said, it's a throwaway fat joke. It's a throwaway fat joke. Vito blocked me after he got absolutely demolished by people when he went after Friday Night Tights. He went after Friday Night Tights because they had Alex Jones on. He was trying to flag them to YouTube, report them to Team YouTube on Twitter like a little baby bitch. And he's just a scumbag piece of garbage, right? So that's the genesis of this, the origin story. I called him out on it, and it really pissed him off, and he blocked me and everybody who follows me. So here's a passing fat joke. Apparently that made him really, really upset, and so he went after my wife for some reason. And this is something I'm noticing a lot on Twitter and on other places, is people, they don't attack me. They, for some reason, attack Lady Rackets, who doesn't attack other people. She's like this nice person who's pretty much aloof from the internet, but they go after her. And so, you know, I don't know why. I don't know why, but he says, go put some more Christ children in your field hockey wife, Matlock, which is a very weird string of insult. But I did have to respond to this. I said, I put children in my wife. You put children in your sexual fantasies, you fat fucking pile of registry bait. So we need to go ahead and just be clear and remind the world that Vito deserves the wall. I just want people to know that Vito deserves the wall. The wall is made for people like Vito, and he's a dumpster of a human who should not be around children. And this is based pretty heavily on his overt defense of cuties, not on the basis of just it's art, bro, but on the basis of he's into children. And that is disgusting. So while we're, since he decided to take the time to unblock me over a throwaway fat joke and then and say a bunch of weird stuff about my wife. And by the way, he said a bunch more I'm not going to get into because it's not really about that. It's not about you know, like going over what he said. It's about reminding the world that Vito seems to be into children and is a disgusting pedophile who deserves the wall. So anyway, there's that. All right, I've been waiting for Joe to come on over, because I was going to cover some of this stuff with him, but I guess we'll just have to move on to this in our own way. Let's see. Have you seen Joe Rogan lately? Joe Rogan has Sanjay Gupta or something, the CNN medical analyst, has Sanjay on the show. We're going to pull that up in just a minute. I forgot. I'm still doing the early chats. I think there's one more here. Dakota S2000 Build Channel says, wish I had you as my attorney in Minnesota case. Got 12 and a half years in Minnesota for something I did in North Dakota. Polk County is corrupt. Damn. 12 and a half years? Who did you eat? I mean, I'm just, since you said you did it, like, who did you eat? That's a lot of time, brother. Fuck. Reform Mr. Sin. You had to bring up my cough. It's not actually gone. It is going down. I'm on a steroid that helps. The worst part of this, it's prednisone is a steroid, which I think will make me have a baby. Isn't that how prednisone works? But the worst part about it is the worst tasting shit on the planet. Uh-oh! Here he is. What's up?
How are you tonight, my brother?
Good. How are you?
I'm kind of lost because I'm missing the hat, the impenetrable hat of Ask Me No Questions. And
you are.
I took it to Chicago, and now it's missing. And now I'm upset.
So I've heard some stories about Chicago.
Oh, did you? Did you now?
Pillargate is
Oh my
all
God.
over.
Oh my
It's all
God.
over the internet here.
Oh my God.
But first, I gotta address something.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we were getting to a point in this show
Mm-hmm.
where I heard you went out for cigarettes and you weren't coming back. And I was like, Dad, where'd you go? like I'm just throwing a football at the wall by myself. Like,
Right.
You'll
No,
be back.
I understand that. I told you we were having a catch. When you're coming back, Dad, I don't know when, but we're going to have a
I
great time
drew a
then.
silhouette of you on the wall. And I was just throwing things to it, and they weren't being caught.
I'm sorry. I bought you a glove, and now we're not having a catch. And, you'll turn 8 again, Nikki.
Yes. Yay. All right.
So-
See you next year. How
so-
long have you been turning 8? 36 years.
Yeah, so it actually ties into Pillargate a little bit in that the week following a Jewish wedding is a period called Sheva Brachos, which is during that period
It's too
on a
long of
nightly
word.
basis.
You got to shorten that. Better marketing is needed.
It's 2 words, Sheva Brachos, and it means 7 blessings. And
Okay.
basically, for an entire week, most nights, usually it ends up not being every night, a newly married couple will go to a different house where they'll make a party for them, and at the end they say grace after meals, so they say 7 blessings on the couple. So it's a common thing for close family or friends to be the ones to host the party. We ended up hosting it together with my brother, and I ended up hosting it for the newlyweds tonight. And after I finished my stream, so my wife was still cleaning up after the party, very foul about the idea that it's like, oh yeah, you just go do your stream with Nick. You go do. No, I was like, no, I don't want to stream with Nick. I want to clean up here with you. So
Tell her I am deeply offended. Then I would find it much funnier to know that you were stuck cleaning up than any other excuse. In fact, I would prefer it if every time we were streaming that she came up with something that you had to clean first. I think that's great.
yeah.
I'm on her side.
Yes. Yeah. No. So what I thought was going to be 15 minutes of me chilling ended up being 30 minutes of me cleaning.
Yeah,
So
that's how it goes, man. I
yeah.
know this game. In fact, because of LeCovid, right? That I had for the
I'm sweating like
that I've been recovering from. Our house, it was both me and the lady were completely KO'd by this stuff.
Oh, she had it also.
Yeah.
Because we heard all about we heard your bitching about it on and on and on, but we never heard word one that Lady Rackets was suffering from the same effects that you were.
Then you were not listening. I definitely mentioned it. I just, I'm not here to speak about her and her woman issues. I'm here to speak about me and my man issues. My man issues were I was so damn tired every day, and had to take days off of grifting, which I don't like to do.
Mm-hmm.
But no, she also had it. Most of our kids have tested positive at some point, but the kids really barely had any symptoms. I mean, it's a bad cold for them. For me, is somewhere between a bad cold and a flu.
Mm-hmm.
But the problem I've had is that it's just hanging around. But this isn't the first illness that I've had where it like just hangs around in your lungs and wipes you out. I mean, I had something really similar 2 years ago, but COVID hadn't officially landed yet. So I don't know if I had caught an early variant of it or something, but I felt similar then. It sucks. But
are you like me in that I consider it part of my Y endowment, my Y chromosome endowment, that if I get remotely sick at all, I have free reign to just bitch like the whiniest child on earth.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, I'm sick, leave me alone. Oh my God, I'm sick. It's like you stubbed your toe. No, I'm sick.
Yes. See, this is, I don't know if this is a product of like, let's get real here. The men do the work. Men work and bring home the bread. That's the traditional sort of male gender role. And I think that might inform this, that when we get sick, right? When this opportunity, like when we're sick enough that we're not going to work, that's when we are justified to do absolutely nothing. And I mean nothing. I don't do shit. I lay around in bed and I'm like, oh God, I feel awful. This sucks or whatever. Woe is me. Lady Rackets is like, she's like getting up
Yeah,
like,
doing stuff like
she's,
actually
like,
like feeding
walking-
the kids.
No, not feeding the kids. She's walking around like a zombie, and she's like cleaning up like a room or
Yeah.
whatever. And I'm like, why are you cleaning a room now?
Yeah.
Well, I don't want to not do stuff. Blah blah. It's like, you weren't gonna clean that room if you weren't sick. Why would you go clean that room now that you are sick? That makes less
great.
sense.
That's
It's
great.
like this weird opposite thing happens. And she's like, oh, I can't feel this useless. I'm like, no, you have all the excuses in the world.
That's
Just
why. That's
sit
why
down
you're
and-
sick. It's God's way of telling you to take a vacation.
Yeah, sit down and watch some TV with me or something, and we can both cough through it like horrible degenerates. It's such a weird, it's a weird, I guess, dichotomy between men and women. Is dichotomy the right word? It is now. I've deemed it
actually
correct.
That works.
But that we do, and I don't get it, because all I want to do when I'm sick is lay there and not be sick anymore. But yeah, so I definitely completely turn into a whiny bastard.
How did you hear about Pillargate? That's what I want to know. Like, how did that even cross your radar? Because like my little sphere of influence is really small compared to yours, and you swing with big wigs like Sargon of Akkad. So I figured for sure he forgot about me. I'm like, this dude.
Oh yeah, that's right.
He's swinging with Sargon of Akkad, who's blessed with the greatest speaking voice I think any human has ever had.
He's got a great one. Yeah, he does.
And
Yeah. I've been swinging with the champs forever. I've had Tim Pool on this show.
Have you really?
I actually intentionally didn't have Tim Pool on the show a second time.
Really?
That's how big this cod piece is. No, I did have Tim Pool on the show a long time ago.
It's good. I give you props. Maybe the reason because you're able to throw out terms like codpiece in common conversation like that. That was well done.
It was he was considering suing this company called Studio Foe, which Tim and his brother started a YouTube channel a long time ago called Subverse.
Right.
Okay.
They're suing. They're the ones engaged in a lawsuit with the chick, with that weird chick and her boyfriend Rocky or whatever.
Right. This was a different issue involving Subverse.
Mm-hmm.
This video game company called Studio Foe, F-O-W, crowdfunded the development of an adult video game called Subverse.
Right. He was in a fight. Right. He had an issue because he didn't realize that it was basically a porn name that he accidentally
Yeah,
used.
well, he had it first. I mean, he definitely, like, the Subverse YouTube
did he?
channel predates this thing. And so he was considering suing them over trademark issues.
Mm-hmm.
And it was a terrible move. Like, one, I don't think that there was a likelihood of customer confusion in this trademark issue. I think that's the big thing. Like, the Subverse YouTube channel is not furries having sex with people. Like, so this is not an issue that we have to worry about. The other thing was, this was, I think at the time, like the most funded, crowdfunded video game. So, I mean, millions of dollars, a huge fan following. It was a bad PR take to go after it. It was just all around. It was not a great move. So he came on to discuss this issue, and we talked about it. So that's why
you advised him against.
I didn't advise him. I'm not giving legal advice to Tim Pool in a different state about trademarks.
Well, this is because here's my thought. Sometimes you sue not for the sake of winning, but just for the purpose of suing. In other words, sometimes someone is when they feel like they've been defamed, so they might not want to go all the way through the whole 9 yards with the lawsuit, but they want to conduct a lawsuit for the purpose of showing that, like, hey, I really was, professing my innocence. So even if I'm not going to get any money, so too, perhaps it would have been an interesting PR move that you can get that much more notoriety or just get your name out there. There's no such thing as bad PR almost always. So, especially if you're still in the relative startup phase, so if you get your name out there that much more by starting a lawsuit, it might be more worthwhile than the legal cost of actually engaging. It's like
but it's
PR.
not like Tim Pool was a small channel at the time. It's not
No,
like,
it depends on his size
Yeah.
at that time.
No, I agree. There can be some strategic benefits to it, In my opinion, it would have been a wholly bad move for Tim Pool because, he would have been at the risk of angering a significant portion of his fans. Like, even if they're not, like, I didn't buy the Subverse game. I've never played it, but I'm a fan of what they have built. Like, I'm not buying a degenerate pornography game. I can't have that stuff on my computer. Like, I have kids who use my computer, right? So I can't have anything like that around. But at the same time, like, they've made this thing. It's funny. It's an actual, like, it seems like it's an actual real game. Like, the gameplay itself has like good mechanics or whatever. So it's not just a gimmick.
You really
right?
know a lot about this for a guy who never installed it on his computer.
Of course I do. I have to research degeneracy on a daily basis.
I forgot where the root of your grift is. So,
but yeah, so like, and I think that Tim Pool probably had quite a significant amount of overlap. And I mean, again, this is one of those things where it was a really popular thing. It's not like some very unpopular pornographer comes in and makes some really disgusting thing and takes a name on purpose to like try and taint. It wasn't one of those situations where you're like, hey, you're really trying to taint a brand here. They're just making their own thing, and and they had a lot of positivity behind them. So, in my personal assessment, I think it would have been a really bad move. I hope he didn't take my advice as legal advice. I would hope someone in the position of a Tim Pool would have their own legal counsel.
Right, would invest the $400 for a consultation fee rather than just getting free YouTube advice from some guy who's talking on the internet.
Exactly, exactly.
Hopefully, yeah.
But yeah. So speaking of, I don't know how we got on any of this subject other than I got to say codpiece.
I was talking right. I was talking about how you swing with bigwigs.
Oh yeah, yeah. I guess. And I don't know. I sometimes get.
And I also asked you how you heard about Pillargate because that was very.
Oh, that's right. See, Joe, I got this. I can sniff out everything that's going on in all communities. And
Were you
watching
me when I was streaming, or someone actually told you about it?
No, someone told me about it. I haven't consumed any streams lately. I've been. It's the COVID stuff. Up until yesterday, I was sleeping like 12 to 15 hours a night. And I'd wake up and I'd lay around and then I'd go back to sleep. Like, I felt okay, but I was just exhausted. Now I got these steroids and that they're kicking in today. I'm riding high. So,
oh, awesome.
But no, I heard about it. Someone in the chat mentioned to me that there was an incident that involved a pillar at a wedding being knocked over. And and it sounded very shameful.
I was live streaming my nephew's wedding. Like
okay.
I was live streaming the actual wedding ceremony portion because I figured very few of my followers have actually seen a wedding performed in accordance with Jewish law. So I figured I'd share that with them and explain to them what's happening, the whole process and stuff like that. And it turns out that so they're on a platform. The wedding party, basically bridegroom and their parents and the person who's running. In this case, was actually my father who was officiating. So they're on this platform, and at the end, everyone knows, even in irreligious weddings, what they take from us, which is actually true, is at the very end of the wedding ceremony, the groom stamps on a glass and breaks the glass. And that's the end of the ceremony.
And everybody says Mazel Tov or whatever.
Yes, right. And what actually happens is people actually will sort of file up there to congratulate him, give him a hug, say Mazel Tov, and there's sort of like this mass of people. And then they'll sort of escort him down and dance for the bride and groom as they sort of walk down the aisle away from the chuppah, which is the area that they get, the platform area that they're on. It's called
Isn't
a chuppah.
The platform area covered? Like, doesn't it have to be covered too?
Yes. So that's the thing also. It's covered, and they want to do it in a fancy
Fiddler
way.
on the Roof.
So. Yes, and they want to do it in a fancy way. So one of the ways they do it is they might put up pillars like they did here. They put up these 12-foot tall pillars. So right after he stamped on the glass, so I went over there, and I was still live streaming. And I wanted to go up there, and I figured I'd give him a hug and, wish him Mazel Tov, and then step back for other people to get up there. and there's people just sort of jostling because, you don't want to push anyone, but there's sort of a whole bunch of people who are trying to get into the same place at the same time. And I put my hand on the pillar, and all of a sudden I sort of felt like I was being jostled from my left. And I looked to my left, and then when I look back to my right, I see the pillar that my hand is still on is tumbling down onto the entire wedding party there. And I was like, oh my God. And like the whole room like sort of gasped as I sort of knocked over the whole canopy section there. And it would be really funny if not for the fact that I learned afterwards that like someone had caught it and then they tried like putting it back up. And then like apparently as I was escorting down and following him down, another one of the pillars tumbled over and fell. And it was like it became this whole chaotic scene. And unfortunately, my sister ended up actually really getting hurt. Like it fell on her head, and she got a concussion out of it. Like, and the whole wedding was really ruined for her. And I felt terrible. Like I felt really, even though everyone was telling me, and I understand intellectually that it's not my fault, that anyone could have done it, and it was poorly set up, and she probably has a great lawsuit here. Not that she really wants to be in that position of having a good lawsuit.
I've already sent her Attorney Tom's information.
Have you? Have you sent Attorney Tom?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, no, I don't get. I don't get the referral fee if that happens. So no, that can't happen. Okay.
No, I'm to sue you.
Oh, you trust me. I'm not the pocket she wants. So, yeah. So basically, I'm starting to believe I'm actually going to end up being deposed about this whole situation because I admitted that it was my hand on the thing there, and I intellectually I understand it's not my fault, but emotionally I'm still racked with guilt because she's still dealing with the effects of it. Like tonight, I saw her, and she's still like a little bit woozy, and she also has like a spine thing. Like she had to get X-rayed today. It's really like scary stuff. So
no, head injuries are really scary. And the older you get, like the scarier they get too. I
put so little pressure on that pillar though, like just a couple of pounds of pressure that was on it, and just the whole thing came down, which is why I don't feel intellectually like I'm wrong, even though I'm racked with guilt.
But no, so. I've got you, Joe. This is simple. It was the pillars of Islam. You found out, and you were toppling. You were worried about the caliphate taking root in Chicago, or whatever.
Yes.
And you're like, nope, not on my watch.
Not on my watch.
Not on my watch, Islam. And then you're like Samson, right?
Yes.
And you're like,
who put his hands up on the pillars and knocks it down. Yeah.
God, bring down this temple. Ah! That's you. That's what I saw. I'm on your side here.
I appreciate that.
Islam must be
so you're saying when I get
out.
named, and I probably would be named in a lawsuit. I probably would be. I mean, if you're the attorney, how do you not name me, right? If you're an attorney, how do you not name me?
Yeah, and people might think that you're joking, but you probably will be deposed because this is probably an insurance.
I definitely will be deposed. Will be deposed.
This is an insurance issue, and there, you got to sue somebody, or your homeowner's insurance or whatever has to sue somebody, and they're not going after the person, but they're trying. It's actually an interesting thing, right? They have to establish that that an injury occurred, but that the injury was not sufficiently intentional so that the insurance can step in and not have the policy voided. So you have to it's this person's fault, but it's not like they tried though. And so personal injury attorneys doing these types of insurance cases have an interesting sort of task, because you're not going all out after the other party like you would in like a car accident or something like that, or if the party is moneyed and very adverse. You're trying to get to the insurance company. So you should live stream your deposition.
You think so? You think so? That's your plan. That's your plan.
I want to live stream your deposition, but. It all depends on what your the deposing lawyer, like how much he wants to really screw with you.
Did you see the Eric Coomer deposition? Did you watch
I've
that?
not watched it yet. I'm thinking
it's 4 hours and 40 minutes. It's so long.
Yeah. Do you know we're on my alternate channel right now? Like Did you hear that I got a strike on my main channel?
Okay, so I did not know that. And then what's interesting is I was actually going to tell you that I hadn't seen that I didn't get a notification.
Yeah.
And I was
so
wondering what the hell was going on. Like, where are you?
Friday before my show, Friday about 5 p.m. my time, 5:45, something like that, I got notified that the stream that I had done 2 Sundays prior was I got a community guideline strike for election misinformation, which is very silly because I did not spread election misinformation. But
what was the overall topic? I don't want to risk anything. But
no, it was pretty simple. I was responding to someone who asked if I was going to cover the Arizona audit, and so I was ranting about how the Arizona audit ultimately doesn't matter because there's no mechanism for changing the election result, which there's not. So Joe Biden is president by the constitutional process. And the audit is not intended to overturn that. According to the people conducting it, it's not intended to do that. And there's not a mechanism for it. So I was explaining that. But what got me, apparently, was I was also explaining the interesting shift in the media narrative. Because prior to the 2020 election, starting back in 2015 even, the media was all on board the fraud train on elections, right? Like they said that, Russiagate and all this stuff with Trump. And then leading up to the election, you even had Hillary Clinton advising Joe Biden that he should not concede because of there was gonna be fraud and all this stuff. That's what they were saying. Then once Joe Biden was elected, they changed their tune. And this is what I'm explaining. Basically, in these terms, YouTube. I am not saying that there was widespread fraud in the 2020 election. I am saying what the media was saying leading up to it. And then after that, the media said there wasn't any fraud, that there couldn't be. Right. And I was talking about the narrative shift in the media. And apparently that is part of what got me struck. And the other thing, which they have not fully told me what it was, but was a comment in the chat. From someone else. Yes.
Did you highlight that comment in the chat?
No.
How is that possible? Can that possibly be something that you would get a strike for?
I don't know.
That's far scarier than anything because anyone could write anything in the chat.
And that's what I said. And I've I was talking about this before you came on, and I said I wasn't going to talk about it anymore. But since you haven't heard, I'm trying to spread this info around. I had heard rumors that they would do that, right? But it's always been a rumor. I've never actually heard of YouTube enforcing a strike on a channel for something said in the chat, but apparently it was. So I am not preserving my chat anymore until I get more information out of it. They won't tell me who said it. They won't tell me what was said. I just know, and it took a lot of screaming to get that information out of it. So I finally got the timestamp of my comments, and I've listened to those comments, and I definitely did not violate their rules. That's what makes me really mad about it.
That's really scary. That's really that's really punishing you because they want to punish you. Because that's insanity. I told you a few months ago we were living during the heyday of YouTube because it's just going to get worse for us. It's just going to get worse.
DJ D Show says, I fucking told you it happened to me. Yeah, but I don't believe you, DJ D, because I only and I say that as a joke. No, the reason that I don't know, they never really tell you. It takes so much work to get what actually caused a strike out of YouTube. Like, you have to ask and follow up and beat on people. It took me. And
you have a guy. You have a guy you can talk to, which you're 10 steps ahead of the rest of us. You have a guy.
Right. And well, it's a gal.
Okay.
She's super nice. But yeah, and I was talking to her. I was talking to the expedited support team, and I was talking to the regular support team because it happens Friday close of business. So I'm sending emails and messages to everybody because I'm like, I want this fixed. I want this changed right now. So I finally started getting around the same time messages from the different sources confirming the timestamp. But it was my partner manager who had gotten the extra information about the chat infraction. And so the reason that I don't, that I've never believed other people is because most of the time we're just kind of guessing. When you get a strike or you get something taken down, it's a guessing game. What did I do here? What do I have to apologize for? What do I have to explain? And you're shooting in the dark and you don't have that info. So that's why I say I don't, DJD. It's I love you, buddy, but I'm taking the word of someone and I don't know that you've got that information. The only information I know I have now is that this happened to me this time. And it's crazy. And I was sitting there.
We're helpless.
I had the meeting with my person yesterday. I'm just sitting there like, what the hell am I supposed to do about this? Like, what am I supposed to do? How do you want me to fix it? Because I don't know how to do that. Like, I don't know how to do what you're saying. I don't know what mechanism I can police everything in the chat. There's too much happening. What
control do we have over chat?
I mean, in theory, you could have your moderators ban anything that someone says that might be questionable, but the rule's too vague.
It's not even like we know what's questionable. They won't even tell us what's questionable. So how are they even supposed to know what to ban? How can this is how you define arbitrary and capricious.
Yeah, and so I think, and this is why I've done this, and other people are welcome to take this advice and apply it in their own way. What I am doing is this strike came like 11 days after the show, and my partner manager and I think it has to do with the chat partially being left up, being preserved in the replay. So for now, I have disabled the live chat replay, and I am not displaying the chat on the actual stream, which I used to do. But until I get more clarification, I can't do it.
I never see my chat stream for like 24 hours. It's a weird thing. Other channels, when Eric Huntley finishes his stream, an hour later you can see his whole chat. With mine, you can never see it for like 24 hours. I don't even understand why that is. Like, anyone who's watching my stream within the first 18 hours after it finishes will not be able to see the live chat. And I don't know.
That's weird.
I don't know why that is. And then like a day later, you can see it. And I'm like, I don't understand that.
So well, I hate it because I actually, I think the chat's a really big part of the show and the community. And so for me,
so do I. I see some people in your chat here saying, why do people want to care about reading the chat? No, because first of all, sometimes we are reacting to things that are going on in chat. That's first and foremost.
Yeah.
Second of all, you have a reaction, you have a certain thought, and you always sometimes wonder if other people in the chat had the same thought. So it's the same reason that you watch the chat in the first place when it's streaming. If it's right now and you're sitting there watching the chat, why are you doing that? Well, that's the same reason why you would be reading it after the show if you're watching a stream after it concluded. So, see, I don't know if you could let's assume that was a banned thing to put up there. Okay, so now you highlighting it, then I can understand them saying, okay, that's
right.
on you. That's on you.
But I don't do that. And actually, I went and checked, and I didn't do that stream through StreamYard. So it was just on my Streamlabs, which doesn't have there's not a mechanism for highlighting chat like in StreamYard.
Mm-hmm.
So I couldn't have highlighted anything that way, but it was preserved on the screen. It was preserved on the replay. And so yeah, I don't know, man. It's dumb. I hate it. But until if I can figure out like the exact rule about it or whatever, and get something, I'll gladly bring the chat back.
Well, I'm busy reporting this stream right now for cannibalism. So
cannibalism.
Well, what was that? What was that?
Oh, well, yeah, that's Susan Wojcicki eating children or whatever.
Yeah.
Okay, so this has been a lot of chat about something, but I was about to talk about a different Joe. Are you up for discussion
Are you
about?
going to confuse me with the president now or what?
Not that Joe. This Joe. the more famous Joe.
Oh, nice.
Have you seen this clip yet of
No.
him talking to Sanjay? I think it's Sanjay Gupta or Sanjay something.
Yeah,
He's
Sanjay
the
from CNN.
The CNN medical guy. Yeah. So
Let's
here we
check
go.
it out. Yeah, do it.
We'll play this. Oh, and by the way, I'll say this in advance. Try not to talk while Joe is talking because it does. StreamYard gives us priority, and it makes the audio messed up. So if you have to say something, just make me pause it.
By the way, I'm glad you're better. I'm glad it only lasted a day.
You're probably the only one at CNN that's glad.
No. We're not.
The rest of them are all lying about me taking horse medication. And we should talk about that.
That bothered you.
It should bother you too. They're lying at your network about people taking human drugs versus drugs from veterinary.
Calling it a horse dewormer is not a flattering thing. I get that.
It's a lie. It's a lie on a news network, and it's a lie that's a willing. That's a lie that they're conscious of. It's not a mistake.
Yeah.
They're unfavorably framing it as veterinary medicine.
Well, the FDA put this thing out. You saw that. Did you see that thing that the FDA put out?
What did the FDA put out?
It was a tweet, and it was snarky. I admit it. They said, "You are not a horse. You are not a cow. Stop taking this stuff," or something like that.
Why would you say that when you're talking about a drug that's been given out to billions and billions of people, a drug that was responsible for one of the inventors of it making
Nobel Prize
in 2015?
Yeah.
Yeah, a drug that has been shown to stop viral replication in vitro. You know that, right? Why would they lie and say that's horse dewormer? I can afford people medicine, motherfucker. This is ridiculous. It's just a lie.
I don't think anyone is.
But don't you think that a lie like that is dangerous on a news network when you know that they know they're lying?
All right, hang on. The thing is, we're like going.
Real quick, I gotta interrupt. Listen to the capitulation and the equivocation going on from Sanjay. Joe's like, it's a lie. It's a lie. That should bother you. It's a lie. And he's like, well, he was even trying to mitigate there. He's like, it's not horse dewormer. This is people medicine. He's like, well, it's like not well. Ivermectin is people
This guy is
medicine.
a doctor also. I think he's the official doctor for CNN, right?
Yeah,
Isn't Dr. Sanjay Gupta.
He's their chief medical analyst.
Yeah, so he's the one who understands better than anyone that ivermectin is people medicine.
Right. And he's like, yeah, well, it's the CDC's fault. They put out that tweet. I mean, that's whose fault it is. You're not a horse. You're not a cow. Stop taking this stuff. And Joe's like, yeah, it's a lie. But you guys are lying
about me specifically.
About me.
Yeah.
And the billions of people who have taken this thing. It's weird because, talk about white privilege or whatever. But in America, we don't have very many parasitic infections, right? Our infections tend to be bacterial or viral.
That's first world privilege, not white privilege.
I said white privilege. No, joking. I'm joking. But yeah, it's so you have ivermectin's a really popular drug in Africa where they deal with a lot of parasitic infections. In North America and Europe, not so many parasitic infections. They don't have to worry about it. So ivermectin isn't as popular here, but that doesn't mean it's not an effective and useful drug. And the interesting thing is, if we were allowed to discuss and explore this, there are some surveys out there that suggest, as Joe alluded to very briefly, that ivermectin has strong antiviral properties as well. Even though it's primarily an antiparasitic, they've seen very good results on viral treatments, and specifically on COVID. Like this is something that in other countries that are free to talk about it and hadn't been at the time, especially pushing the vaccine mandate as heavily. There were doctors for a while trying to figure out if this is an effective preventative, prophylactic, and we just unfortunately never got around to whether or not people, like frontline healthcare workers should be taking this stuff in a prophylactic manner. Not everybody, maybe. Like maybe you don't want to give the entire world ivermectin to eat constantly during the pandemic, but treating people who are frontline medical workers or first responders or something.
Or people dealing with adverse effects, perhaps from I don't even know how. I gotta tell you,
even-
you got balls even talking this much about it on YouTube.
Well, I'm not talking about the vaccine, and one of the main reasons I'm not talking about the vaccine or potential adverse effects or anything like that is because the ivermectin talk came when there wasn't even a vaccine yet. Like the vaccine wasn't out. They were working on it. We didn't know if it was going to get done. And there's doctors over there going, hey, we have this thing, and we're looking at the data, and we're like, this stuff's working. Why aren't we? Can we talk about it? And for some reason, like, they're like, no, we're just not going to talk about it. And then we got this propaganda campaign. I don't know if ivermectin. I'm not a doctor. I know that I asked my doctor about it, and my doctor wouldn't give me anything. I could get zero. Joe, this is what made me so mad about COVID. I was unable to receive any treatment of any kind for my sickness, because I'm not a smoker, I'm not diabetic, I'm not a BMI over 25, and I'm not over 65 years old. So because of those 4 reasons, they're like, he doesn't have the comorbidities to support it. I even tried playing the narcolepsy card. I'm like, well, I got narcolepsy, maybe. Like, give me some drugs. Because I was trying.
That's like George on Seinfeld when he was like pretending he's blind because he wanted to get audiobooks. That's what you're basically describing here. It's like then the guy's like, yeah, all you have to do is sign your name, and he ends up like sticking his hand on the guy's face by accident, you know. And he's like, oh, I'm so sorry, but may I comment? You're a very handsome man.
Yeah.
So.
That's
So
so
you're
at its
faking
moment.
your injuries here so you can basically get the treatment that you're looking for. I have
not
so much
fake.
I want to say on this.
I have narcolepsy. It wasn't fake.
You don't have
I just
narcolepsy.
yes, I'm diagnosed.
Nobody who doesn't live their life in a comedy movie has narcolepsy.
No, I'm a diagnosed narcoleptic.
Really? So
Yes.
you're basically. So how do you drive? How do you function on Earth? So you're telling me you're like sitting in a bathtub and all of a sudden you're just asleep, or you're in the middle of like eating your breakfast and like you have the spoon in your mouth and all of a sudden you're just like
This bigotry.
really.
This bigotry. will
Really?
not stand.
I don't buy it.
Oh, I'm sorry. I get all of my narcolepsy information from Mr. Bean's character in
Apparently,
Rat Race.
yeah. Apparently,
That's
you
not how
don't have
narcolepsy works.
narcolepsy.
That's not how narcolepsy
This is a
works,
lie.
you coward.
It's like this. Oh my.
This
Please.
racism and the bigotry.
I don't buy it. I don't buy the whole narcolepsy
I'm
thing.
not
There are
selling it.
9 people on the
It's
planet who have
fact. I put up a
narcolepsy,
billboard
and every
in
one
your
of them has
yard.
their
I'm
own
not giving you
sitcom.
I'm not sending you a bill for this. You just have to deal with these facts. This is who I am. Diagnosed with narcolepsy in 2006.
Please
And,
diagnose with narcolepsy in 2000. Yeah.
Narcolepsy is chronic daytime fatigue, I'll have you know. And not everybody who has narcolepsy has either of the comedy symptoms, which are falling asleep at random, and second, cataplexy, which is a sudden loss of muscle function. Those are the 2 comedic narcoleptic classic symptoms that are played up on TV. But
So
in
you're
reality,
saying you have fake narcolepsy. That's what you're basically saying. You're afflicted with fake narcolepsy,
I
which is
actually
like
have-
something that you can claim. This is like you claiming you're narcoleptic is like Talcum X over there claiming he's black. Okay, you don't have narcolepsy. You know, it's like, oh, I'm a victim of my narcolepsy. The impression I felt as a narcoleptic. Please.
Exactly.
That's
This
not
is-
real
this is-
narcolepsy.
this is the
Narcolepsy is a
bigotry
serious problem that 4 people on the planet have, and you're trying to vulture their sympathy that they truly earn by falling asleep in the middle of like whatever coitus they're engaged in. They could be bowling and just all of a sudden pass out. It doesn't matter. But you want to just be like, oh, I'm a poor helpless narcoleptic. I don't think so.
Tell me
not
more
selling.
about how much you don't understand narcolepsy. But here we are. I thought I only had to deal with this bigotry from my doctor, but turns out no. Even from my friends who
Your
are
Jewish
lawyers.
friends. Yeah,
My-
your Jewish friends.
My Jewish, as I figured, a Jewish person would understand. Oh, I'm sorry. Oh, you're claiming to be Jewish? that's weird. You're not in a camp getting murdered by Nazis right now.
Oh my gosh.
Oh no,
That's-
they're real.
That's the first place the Polacks go. Always to the Nazis.
There are
Always
real-
to the Nazis. Oh
there
yeah.
are real Jews.
Why don't you just like
out
stand there
Joe,
like a little
facing-
blonde girl going, "Goodbye, Jews." Yeah, because I
yeah.
don't buy your fake narcolepsy situation.
Exactly.
I'm
There
sorry.
are real Jews running around
Oh.
right now with
I'm
stars
sorry.
of David pinned
Oh.
all over their
Oh.
bodies. And
This is-
and you're out here claiming to be Jewish.
You know, I'm
I
going to
haven't seen-
cordon off a section of my room to be your little safe space for you to cry about your narcolepsy over there, because I know
Joe.
that you, yeah, I'm just going to I'll build a little wing here for you that you can curl in a corner about all the people who are so mean to you about your fake narcolepsy. Like, oh my gosh, why are people
Fake
so mean to
narcolepsy.
me? I have all
Joe,
my
we've been
bad narcolepsy.
streaming for an hour and you haven't been thrown out of a country yet. I can't possibly believe that you're actually Jewish. This is an atrocity here.
So it doesn't work. It does. So you're telling me your whole narcolepsy thing, yeah, it didn't get you the horse medicine. Yeah, I want you to know. By the way, not to break away from this very important, like breaking topic that you have narcolepsy, which I promise you I plan on coming back to, but.
I'll tell you how I got diagnosed.
When you were reading, I definitely want to hear that. That I definitely want to hear. But I want to hear about the canoe trip where all of a sudden you're going down the rapids, and the next thing you know, you were just. That's what I'm looking for. But
Hold on,
I was
gotta
in
bring
camp
up the chat.
and I'm canoeing, and all of a sudden, and then
I've got to bring up this chat. This is. Oh, come on, Halesburg.
Oh my gosh!
No,
And
we
frankly,
did-
this
we-
is getting nice.
We disavow.
Well
that
done.
one.
I like how he's got the little Nazi symbol there for his emotic. That's great. That's great. That's great.
Couldn't work out better.
Oh my god. Well, okay. I mean, I gotta tell you, I had so much I want to weigh in on Joe Rogan, and we're gonna come back to that soon. Don't let the chat worry here. We're gonna come back to that soon. Also, I'm so terrified to speak about this topic. I feel as if this chat, your stream, your channel is like my sister's head, and my conversation that I want to have here is a pillar that I am
Islamic
about to
pillar?
I'm about to just rain down on your channel. I'll be like, I'm sorry, I didn't mean for it to happen. And then your next thing I know, your second channel is basically yeeted off the internet forever. You're on some street corner saying holding up a cardboard
That
sign.
street corner is
saying-
multi-streaming to Odyssey and Rumble.
Yeah, exactly. Or saying fake narcoleptic. I'll pass out on the windshield of your car for food, and yeah, that's what you have to. Can you imagine that sign on a street corner? Some guy laying on a street corner with a sign, "Narcolepsy, please help," and he's just asleep like that.
I should do it.
Oh my god, that is awesome.
I gotta get someone to
This
video
is
it.
inspired. That is so genius. That is the best grift ever. Sit on a street corner on right outside Penn Station with a little cardboard sign saying "Narcolepsy, please help," and just sleep like that.
And see how many people come and steal money from you.
Oh my god.
Right? You
Wow.
gotta have I gotta have the guitar case.
Yeah.
I gotta have the guitar case. The guitar slumped over, me asleep, and then some scattered 1s and 5s and 20s in the guitar case, and just have someone in the bushes recording the whole thing and watch the people come up and take the narcoleptic beggar's money.
Well, you see, okay, so that if you do it on a busy enough street corner in New York during the day, people don't want to do it because they're embarrassed that people will see them robbing from the homeless guy.
Yeah.
So it helps if you put it in vet, because no one's checking, your medical record. No one's checking your service records there to see whether you were in the armed forces or a Marine. If you say former Marine discharged for narcolepsy, please help, and then you just tilt your head back and fall asleep there. I think you could make a killing. You could definitely survive on that, I think. So tell it, please. Tell us the story. Tell us the story as to how you were You were
Yeah.
judged and deemed
So I was-
by the medical world to be a narcoleptic.
I was working at Wells Fargo,
Right.
and
Wait, so how old were you now?
25, 26 at the time.
Okay.
So this is 2006, and okay. So a very brief backstory. When I got hired for Wells Fargo as a personal banker, it was part of this program that they had called the Forward Hire Program. And what they would do is they'd get together a class, and you would go to downtown Minneapolis to the Wells Fargo headquarters, and you did like a 6-week course in personal banking. Okay. And then everybody graduated, and when they hired us, they promised that you would be placed at a Wells Fargo within 5 minutes of your house, because Wells Fargos are everywhere in Minnesota. They're all over. The Wells Fargo, the one that was left after the government nationalized the Wells Fargo delivery service during World War I, the one Wells Fargo bank was in downtown San Francisco, but they bought Norwest Bank, or more appropriately, Norwest Bank bought Wells Fargo, but preserved the name and the history, and Norwest is based out of Minnesota.
This is a long introduction to a story.
It is.
Yeah.
It is, but this is important.
Okay.
Their promise upon hiring me was that I would be placed within 5 minutes of my home. They placed me over 40 minutes away with no traffic. They put me in downtown St. Paul. And it was it was really hard to gauge going to downtown St. Paul. Downtown Minneapolis is consistently bad traffic. So you always know if you're driving to downtown in rush hour, it's going to take you an hour and a half to 2 hours to get from where I live to downtown Minneapolis. But St. Paul's different. Some days it'll take you 40 minutes. If there's any traffic, though, it's going to be an hour and a half. And so this is the important part. I missed a meeting on a Wednesday morning at Wells Fargo because they had a team meeting every morning, every Wednesday, and I missed it. I was 3 minutes late, and I missed the entire meeting. That's how important this meeting was, right?
Right. One of those critical 3-minute meetings.
My boss comes to my table, and her nickname was Circle K because she's a big fat lady whose name started with K. So her nickname was Circle K. She sits down at my desk, and she's yelling at me about missing this very important meeting. Look, I can summarize the meeting. This week's product is home equity lines of credit, because every week's product is home equity lines of credit, right?
Okay.
And so, she's like, you missed a very important sales meeting, and blah blah blah. And I'm sitting there yawning, and I'm yawning like behind my breath. I like keeping my mouth closed, but you can tell, right?
Yeah.
And she goes, "Am I boring you?" And I said, "No, like, yes, but no. This is not personal. I'm just so damn tired all the time right now. Like, all the time I'm tired." And she goes, "Well, why don't you take the day off tomorrow and go to the doctor?" And I said, "All right." So I go to the doctor, and I tell the doctor, I'm like, I'm so tired all the time. And so he gives me a quiz, and you take this little quiz, and I scored, I scored in the needs further research on extreme daytime fatigue. And so then I had to go to a sleep doctor. So I go to the sleep doctor, and I do the sleep study. They put all the wires in your head.
Really?
You look like a Jamaican. You got dreadlocks all over the place, but like the Predator, because the dreadlocks are electronic. And you're walking around this stupid clinic, and they have you sleep for 8 hours, a full night's sleep, which who sleeps for 8 hours when they're 25 or whatever. So I go to sleep for 8 hours, and they're like, well, you don't have apnea or anything, so you slept fine. Now we have to do this test. So you just slept for 8 hours. Every 2 hours, you're going to take a nap, and we're going to measure how long it takes you to fall asleep. Now, Joe, can you take a nap 2 hours after you wake up after sleeping 8 hours?
Not a chance.
Okay. I can take 5 naps in a row following 8 hours of sleep, and they measure how long it takes you to fall asleep. And if on any 2 of them you fall asleep in under 5 minutes, you're considered narcoleptic. Well, the longest time it took me to fall asleep was 4.5 minutes. The shortest time was 30 seconds, and the average time was 1.5 minutes.
Wow.
So after a full night's sleep,
So you basically
remember, my head is covered in glue and electronics as well. So I'm not taking a nap in like comfort of my lounger here. I've got a fat guy looking at me in this gown, and my head is wired up like I'm Nancy Pelosi's little slave children or whatever computer that they make out of organic children parts. But and I'm able to fall asleep like that, like clockwork, and I can still do it now. If I lay down to go to sleep, typically speaking, I'll be out very quickly.
Right. So I would call that early old age. That's what I would. But I can call it. I can call it fakealepsy if you like.
I've only been diagnosed with this for 15 years. I'm fully medicated for it when I need to be. On long trips, I am medicated, actually. On long drives.
But to make sure that you don't fall asleep at the wheel?
Yep.
So what's medication? Red Bull?
Provigil. Provigil is a great drug developed for bomber pilots to stay awake for 60-hour missions.
Really?
Yeah.
It's not just uppers? Isn't that really all it is?
It's a non-narcotic stimulant.
Really?
Because I used to be on Ritalin. Ritalin is one of the meds, but my family has a history of heart disease, and Ritalin is not good for a history of heart disease. So, and I tried taking Adderall, and Adderall actually put me to sleep. Like irrecoverable, probably should have gone to the hospital sleep,
Right.
because I was not able to be woken up for hours. And so then because those two medications failed, I was approved for Provigil, which is great, but I don't take it most of the time. I now just sleep when I want to. It's the beauty of YouTube, right? I don't have to be awake in the morning.
All right. Are we going to finish this Joe Rogan thing with Dr. Sanjay?
I don't know. You want to call me a faker anymore, Joe?
No. I don't see you're a faker. I mean, people call you a grifter, and you get offended. I say you have fakealepsy. I'm sorry. But
okay, fake a Judaism or whatever. I don't believe you. I haven't seen anybody oppress you on this stream except for me. But I'm not anti-Semitic, so I'm oppressing you for other reasons.
There you go.
So here we go. Let's get back to this.
Going so fast, like I feel like I'm missing.
Do you think that's a problem, that your news network lies?
Well, I don't.
Dude,
what did they say?
They lied
What did
and
they
said
say?
I was taking horse dewormer. First of all, it was prescribed to me by a doctor.
Yeah.
Along
They
with
shouldn't have said
a
it was
bunch of
If-
other
if it was-
medications.
If you got a human pill, because there were people that were taking the veterinary medication, and you're not, obviously. You got it from a doctor, so that it shouldn't be called that. Ivermectin can be a very effective medication for parasitic disease, and as you say, it's probably I think what 250 million people have taken it around the world.
more,
I get that.
way more,
So
way more. Billions of people have taken it.
Can I just come back to the one I want to talk about?
No.
Two things on
You
the
have
ledger.
to. You have before we get to that. Does it bother you that the news network you work for, out and out lied, just outright lied about me taking horse dewormer?
They shouldn't have said that.
Why did they do that?
Oh, that's a good clip. I like that clip.
Yeah, no, that's great.
I'm not the biggest Rogan fan in general, and it has nothing to do with this podcast and everything to do with when he was announcing for UFC. He used to overuse the threat of the omoplata coming in when no one was going to do that. No one was actually like
What's the omoplata?
Unless Shinya Aoki's in the ring, no one's doing an omoplata. It's a chokehold. It's a specific type of chokehold that you use your legs to affect the choke. You have to be really rubbery. You have to be really flexible to do it. The guy who's the king of it is Shinya Aoki, but Joe Rogan's like, oh, he's going for an omoplata, and like, no, he's not. Stop it, Joe. Stop saying that, Joe. Stop it.
That's a great lead-in. That's a great lead-in for the latest news on Gabby Petito. But
really? Oh yeah, because she. Oh come on.
What? What?
Yes. Yeah. What was happening was she was actually fighting her jujitsu skilled boyfriend. Who?
Well, I'm saying no, but now they came out that the method of murder was strangulation, and when I was on your stream, the last time I was on your stream, I think is the first time that you probably brought up the whole Gabby Petito Brian Laundrie story when they first went missing, but well before her body was found, and before he even went missing. Do you think they're ever going to find him? Do you think they're ever going to find this guy?
I mean, if he has any brains, no.
Right. I mean, and you speculated then that he killed her. You said he
Yes.
double killed her. He killed her twice. He killed her.
Well, I said
then
he killed her.
resurrected her
I
and
thought he
killed
ate her.
Did you really? I didn't get that. I didn't get that messaging from
Well,
you.
they hadn't found her yet, and so I was just wondering. I was like, are there going to be teeth marks or missing parts? I was genuinely curious because, this is so strange, such a strange cycle of events. And I'm not the guy who's like, oh, this person's accused, so they're guilty. That's been the crazy. Brian Laundrie still isn't technically accused by anybody.
Well, he's accused of using her card and bank fraud, which is.
Oh yeah.
No, you're saying that's not a big deal, but I thought that was a brilliant move by the DA. That was
it's great, but they're really holding off on accusing him of murdering this chick.
I don't know why. Like why?
I don't either.
I guess they figured they don't have enough evidence on him and that they're going to force him to testify because, when I was speculating about with this whole bank fraud charges, and for your audience's sake, he basically was charged with spending over $1,000 on her card. And that has a maximum penalty of 30 years. So in theory...
Can't defraud a bank.
In theory, if they haven't dead to rights on that, like there's a video of him by an ATM using her card, and they can establish that
After the alleged time of death, from what I understand too. Like
the
presumption is that she is deceased at the time that he's using her card.
Right. Well, he could defend that, but the interesting thing is he could defend that by taking the stand and saying, she's my girlfriend, I'd given her money, I was taking my money back, or she had authorized it, and he could probably get out of it. But once he takes the stand, then they can question about what situation led to him having her card. When's the last time you saw her? How did you end up in her car? And all these other questions start unfolding, which then would be under the auspices of asking him about the bank fraud and really be trying to grill him and incriminate himself on the murder. So that's why he can't. Any other boyfriend, if he had an alibi for her murder, if there was video of someone else killing her and then he used the card, he could get out of this really easily. But because of the fact that he presumably doesn't have an alibi and may have actually killed the woman, in fact, you and I both are convinced that he did. I mean, strangulation, that's an act of passion, right? I mean, who else had passion? Who was the other, unless the Boston Strangler woke from the dead and found Gabby Petito and said, I'm doing her in.
Didn't the Boston Strangler kill boys? Or am I thinking of someone else?
I don't know, but he was like 1960s. So
yeah.
So unless
the
he woke from
Hillside
the
Stranglers, I think, killed women.
All right. Well, yeah, I mean, Jack the Ripper came from Whitechapel, 19th century, and decided to kill her. I don't know how he's gonna. I don't know how anyone would think that he didn't do it. But at the same time, if the hands don't fit, you must have quit. So right. I assume she was strangled with hands. We don't know if she was strangled with rope or strangled with hands.
We have no idea. There is the possible theory, but see, this is the problem: is that Brian Laundrie's actions make him look extremely guilty. And again, this is what I was.
But that wouldn't be admissible. I mean, nothing that happened with OJ was admissible.
This isn't admissibility that I'm talking about. This is perception. Like I said, I'm not the guy who says, "Oh, this person's been accused, therefore they're guilty." I'm typically the opposite. But the way he acted with an alleged fiance, even if you've gotten into a fight, even if you're calling the whole thing off, right? And you're going to take the van and go back to Florida and leave this chick in Montana because you're spiteful or whatever.
In her van.
Yeah. Let's ignore it. But let's ignore that, right? Because let's be honest, in serious relationships, like at the time maybe this van was rented, things are kind of muddy about ownership and stuff like that.
True.
Two people can rent a car or rent a van or buy a van together and it not actually be the thing. Like I think, when my wife and I first were married and bought a car, I'm pretty sure her name went on the title because it was more beneficial for insurance because they charge men more than they charge young men more than they charge young women for insurance. So having it be her car was more beneficial to us as a couple. So so I don't know. I don't know whose van it is. Seems like it's hers. But let's be deferential and say that that's a muddy question. Even if you're mad at someone, you drop them off at a hotel, right? And say, bye, bitch. And then when the cops are like, yeah, well, where is she? You're like, I left her at the Holiday Inn in Bozeman, Montana, or whatever. Like, what the hell? What do you mean you can't find her? She's not my problem. I dumped that whore because she cheated on me with that weird Utah cop or whatever. I you know, like that's the actions of someone who has no level of guilt in this thing.
Right.
But let's ignore all that for a second. If strangulation is indeed the cause of death, you said it's a crime of passion, but there is another possibility, right? It's not autoerotic, but erotic asphyxiation is a possibility.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Mm-hmm. They're engaged in some sort of sexual act. She says, choke me, Big Daddy, or whatever. He chokes her a little too long. This is the plot of the movie Rising Sun with Sean Connery and Wesley
Way to
Snipes.
ruin that movie for me. Thank you, brother. Damn. That was like on my list.
It came out in 1993.
I was getting to it. I was getting around to it. I have a list. I go in order. I haven't gotten to that one yet, okay? And you just sort of had to just throw that out. I was due to come up with that like in December of this year. I was going to get to that, but thanks.
I'm your senpai. You are my kohai. Do not speak unless I direct you in what to say. Great movie, by the way, Rising Sun. I have not spoiled anything for you.
No, thank
you. Go watch it. It's a fantastic movie.
Supposedly though, all this talk about that type of murder. I'll let you finish your thought because you have narcolepsy. I'm worried you'll fall asleep before I finish. So go ahead.
No, it's over. Actually, that's a symptom of narcolepsy. Is the moment someone interrupts me, it's gone. So thank you, bigot. just carry on then. Mr. Still doesn't believe me. Mm-hmm.
Well, no, I was under the impression, and on this I'm not sure about, but maybe I'm sure your audience can and will correct me if I'm mistaken on this, that the length of time between someone passing out and actually dying from murder through strangulation is like a good 30 seconds.
It's a while, yeah.
So that's why the concept of someone accidentally murdering someone because of coitus. It's like, hey, she was like, give it to me, Big Daddy, and the next thing I know, she's dead. Doesn't make sense because normally she would be passed out well before she's dead. And if you're still going while she's passed out, that's pretty much murder already anyway. Right? I mean, how much longer? You're still choking her.
Like, okay, this is going to get uncomfortable, but at what point are you supposed to stop and keep going? This is actually a weird question, right? This is the Stanford swimmer question is involved in this.
I don't know what the Stanford swimmer question is.
Okay, you remember that the Stanford college swimmer who he was accused of raping a girl because she got really drunk, and they were his story was that they were making out hot and heavy behind a dumpster, as people are wont to do, right? Like by a dumpster is very romantic.
It's not that it's romantic, but obviously most people get a sexual high from dumpsters. How can you not? How can you not?
The smell is aromatic.
When it fills
an
the air.
aphrodisiac.
Yes. All of a sudden, the blood just starts flowing south. You can't help yourself.
Brock Turner, that's his name, Brock Turner. So his story was that he's walking with this girl, and they start doing the heavy handsy stuff, but then she passes out. At some point, he's interrupted by two Swedish bikers. This is a weird story, but this is how it goes. And they're like, hey, you get your hands off of her. And then they chase him or whatever. And he gets up, like Hans and Franz are chasing a drunk Stanford swimmer through an alley because he's touching a girl's naughty parts or something. It's very weird. But part of the conversation around that is this idea that, had she consented. His argument was that she had consented to the activity, but then the legal argument says that at some point when someone loses consciousness from, for example, in this case, from alcohol rather than from strangulation, that they are no longer able to maintain consent. But that's a weird thing, right? Like, how do you, there are people who are into rough play. And so they will knock someone unconscious or they'll be unconscious. And then, you know, what are they supposed to stop? Like, how do you, I mean, the person literally can't maintain consent. So this just becomes a post facto question.
All right, let's break this down. I mean, and I mean this both seriously and also for like the humor element behind it. Okay.
Yeah. No.
Much as like if something food falls on the floor, there's like a 5-second rule, right?
You better finish quick. That's where you're going with this. Or in football, with respect to a late hit, a guy is charging forward, and like all of a sudden now, like he's charging for the quarterback. Quarterback unleashes. You know, the question is, did he take the extra step beyond? I think that there could be like a certain boundary here with respect to trying to establish at what point it's like, okay, if the person is like, you know, middle of a thrust, or even goes like, you know, a couple of extra because he doesn't realize what's going on. But it's like, if the guy realizes that his partner is going, if doesn't realize for like, you know, 5 minutes, or even like really, if you think about it, 2 minutes is a really long time to not know that your partner is unconscious. Maybe
that's a really long time.
Counterpoint: some women are starfish, and other women, you know, could be drunk and just
I don't know what starfish is.
You can picture a starfish.
That's a Gentile term. We Jews don't go with starfish. I don't know what that means even.
You know what a starfish looks like, right?
Yes.
Okay, so picture a woman just laying there like
right,
this,
yeah,
right?
like a starfish.
Doing nothing because starfish don't move very much.
Okay, that's the whole point. Okay.
So they just lay there. So right, like it's like you know, the guy's going to town. He doesn't know that she's passed out because she's not very entertaining on her own. This is drunken fumbling here. Like, this is not, we're not talking about titans of Eros engaged in magical coitus here.
Okay, so
what if she's narcoleptic? Exactly. Albert Pike with the save. He knows exactly what I'm talking about here. She just falls asleep. What, are you supposed to stop and wait for her to wake up? To slap her around a bit, like, wake up.
Yo, wake up, yo. Yeah.
Get up. He carries smelling salts on me for just all the occasions I run into having sex with narcoleptic women.
Yeah. Well, let me tell you something. If you're concerned about sex is that you're gonna need to bring the smelling salts, you really shouldn't be bringing the condoms. Then it's like you need one or the other, because what are you doing? What are you doing already?
They should make condoms out of smelling salts. That way, if she passes out, you can just wave it around.
It's got like a dual purpose there. It's got like the dual purpose.
You just wave it around. She wakes back up, and then you get back to work. This is easy. This is good times. Why doesn't Brett Kavanaugh brand this condom? He's an expert at waving his penis in people's faces. I heard this. That is brilliant.
Either he or Don Lemon. You know, Don Lemon could do the same thing. So
we call it the Kavanaugh Crusher, or whatever.
So, but you see my point, though, as far as you're trying to refute my point, saying maybe she's a starfish, maybe she's
I'm
just
not
like
trying to refute your point. I'm just having a discussion.
Look, this is a serious debate, and we need to. I don't mean in a negative way. I'm saying you're trying to, like, you know, vet out the truth of what I'm asserting here. My assertion is that the same way there's like a late hit, like if it comes too late, so too, you know, I can understand a concept that a woman's passed out. I would think 60 seconds after she passed out, you should know she's passed out. You should know she's passed out. And at that point,
you know, in some very, very conservative Islamic cultures, they believe that you have a right to have sex with a woman, I think up to 10 or 12 hours, right? Like,
Oh my
afterwards,
God.
that it's the husbandly duty, like, I guess the wife's duty doesn't end.
Doesn't end for until 12 hours after rigor mortis.
Yeah, something like that. Like, I guess when it becomes dangerous for you to continue because.
Okay, that's real. That's really sick. That's really sick.
Have you not heard that?
No, I've never heard that before. I've never heard that.
This is so before people don't believe me. This is like a news story. I mean, probably like 10, 15 years ago. Probably about the time I was being diagnosed with narcolepsy.
Right.
And
you had concerns that if you marry a Muslim woman.
Look, I just want to know if she dies on me, if I can
How
go
much
ahead
longer can you go?
and take advantage before I have to move on to my second wife. Like, that's
Right.
all I'm saying.
Right.
That's all I'm saying.
I mean, yeah. I mean, I guess if you're hoping for 70 virgins.
It was like, I want to be very clear on this.
I guess it's
like
70 virgins and like 12 of them could be stiffs. So
You know, it's like one radical cleric in one ultra, like, you know, like full burqa Iranian, you know, sect or whatever. Like, this is not the mainstream opinion. Hashtag not all Muslims, YouTube, just most of them or whatever. No. But it was funny because people are like, that's fake. No, this is a real news story about a real cleric talking about this. And guys, you know, Memory TV will provide you with all of the entertainment you need because Islamic clerics are the most red-pilled and based commentators on the planet. They're so funny.
By the way, I noticed here someone in the chat asked how Jews deal with having sex through the streets if she passes out. That's a myth. That's a myth. Just clarify that for your audience.
What's
that
it,
whole
women
thing?
passing out?
No, the whole sex through sheets. That's a myth.
Wait, you don't cut a hole in the sheets?
No.
And
No,
you don't
no such thing. Do you? No.
Who doesn't do that? I thought everybody did that.
There's no such thing. I don't know who came up with this concept.
I bought Mitt Romney's sex book. I know exactly how to have sex with.
There ain't no such thing. I never heard of such a thing. That makes absolutely no sense at all. So just to clarify for you, no, I know it's common. I know that's a common misperception out there about Ortho Jews, but it's just
there's actually a misperception that Jewish people cut a hole in the sheets and have sex with each other through, like, with a sheet between them.
Yeah, that is a common misperception.
Okay,
but
that's good. I have a feeling you don't know what I'm talking about on Muslim clerics being.
I never heard of such a thing. To me,
no, this is a different thing. But
okay, where are you going?
Here we go. Have you seen this guy?
Oh, I love this. I love this guy.
Because democracy basically means
For retarded, by retarded, right?
government by the people, of the people, for the people. But the people are retarded.
Right, and he finishes up. It's like by the retarded, of the retarded, for the retarded.
It's the most true statement about democracy ever uttered. Right there, he nails it.
He really does. He really does, and he would get canceled because he used the
Wait,
I
think he's not. I think he's not.
But you can't. Then they
Islam.
can't
He's
cancel
not
him
a
because he's Muslim. So you can't cancel a Muslim.
I
so
think
that
he's
would
a
put them.
Sikh, though.
Oh, is he? Oh, then you cancel a Sikh
Or something. And you realize he's Bhagwan. The Bhagwan was a Hindu. Okay, so he's a Hindu. I don't know. Look, I don't have time to keep track of all these little things. It's funnier if he's a Muslim. All right.
Thank you. It's like everyone's got to ruin your joke. Everyone's got to ruin your humor. Like you're not trying to you're giving the people what they want.
Right.
Unless you fall asleep in the middle, in which case you've done your best.
And what we want are Muslims calling the people retarded because it's funny. Okay, let's get back to Rogan.
Mm-hmm.
Let's get back to this Rogan thing.
Yeah.
Now that I've completely insulted at least 4 different cultures on the stream, we've got to do more. And we're about to. Have you heard the Loudon County, Virginia stuff going on, because that's the next topic.
So the Loudon County, Virginia thing, I know that there was a whole thing with them that was going on like 6 months ago.
Oh, it's gotten so much worse, and we're going to talk about it because it got Crowder banned. So we're talking about it.
Oh, okay. It got him banned from where? From YouTube? Wasn't he banned from YouTube already?
No, he just got a guideline strike, 7-day suspension. It just happened today.
Okay.
But no, he was on YouTube. But yeah, he just got a guideline strike today about the for being too recklessly targeting of LGBTQ plus communities. And no, I'm not kidding. So let's talk Rogan first.
Mm-hmm.
So what do you think about this? Like, at what point this guy is CNN's medical guy, right?
Okay. You know that when you ask a question at that position, the best questions are the ones that you don't really care what the answer is.
And Joe asked very good questions.
And that's what Joe Rogan was doing there. That's what he was. What answer could Sanjay give there? He's gonna be like, yes, they lied. No, or else, no, I got to stand by my employer. Otherwise, I'm going to get fired. So I can't say that. So, so he's going to dance around here and try. He knows that there's no way that Sanjay can answer that question. That's not going to land him in hot water.
I think Sanjay can answer that question, though.
So you're a lawyer. How do you advise him to answer that question if you know it's coming?
Sanjay says, look, I'm the chief medical correspondent or analyst or whatever for CNN, whatever his title is, right? And unfortunately, the person did not consult me on the use of ivermectin in human populations, which has certain medical characteristics. I'm not your doctor. I don't know if the use was appropriate or not. It seemed to work out for you. And the person who said that shouldn't have said that. They shouldn't lie about things. They shouldn't talk in an uninformed manner. CNN has standards of journalism that they're supposed to follow. And here, they maybe made a mistake. I don't think it was malicious. I don't think it was nefarious. But, they dropped the ball on this one. And that's an okay thing to say. Like, this is
but
journalism.
Then Joe's going to press on it and say they said it 3 different times, and I was surprising them of the fact that it was not true, and they still kept saying it anyway.
And he should say, you know what? I wish they would have consulted me on it. I really wish they would have. So
this way, he's absolving himself personally without actually throwing CNN under the bus.
Yeah, I mean, why not?
Yeah.
It's journalism, and we've gotten to this weird place, and this is why people aren't trusting. This is one of the big reasons people aren't trusting the mainstream media. It's the inability for them to admit a screw up,
the complete lack of accountability.
Exactly, and it's like, we know you make mistakes. The people talking about ivermectin on CNN, by and large, are not doctors. And even if you are a doctor, right? Like, my doctor doesn't know anything about this drug. It's an anti-parasitic drug that's primarily used in Africa, not in the middle of Minnesota. My doctor, my general family practitioner, has no need to know about this drug. There's no reason that your average commentator knows anything about ivermectin. And as evidence, there are a bunch of people buying the veterinary version of ivermectin because they see the brand name, they can't get the pill or whatever, and so they think that this will maybe work out the same way. And some of them have had issues from that, right? Like, there's been some reported fallout. I don't know. I'm not their doctor, but there's been some reported fallout from it. So no one's expected to know all of this stuff. And that includes journalists. Journalists aren't experts in anything. They're actually the opposite of experts. That's why they bring on experts.
The one consistent thing that we see in our leaders today is our leaders have faces like dogs. And when I say faces like dogs, I don't mean...
You're talking about Hillary Clinton.
Actually, I am.
And Kamala Harris.
I'm going to come to that. Well, I'm going to come to Hillary in a second, because it's not just our leaders. I think the media elite are our leaders also, because the left certainly looks at them as if they are different strata of people, of human, and have to live by different rules. They don't have to live by the same rules you and I have to live by. And they are considered leaders. And when I say faces like dogs, what I mean is that a dog walks in front of its owner, but it's always looking back. Which way are we going? Are we going straight? Am I going left? Am I going right? So you might think that the dog is the one leading the owner, but it's really the owner that's leading the dog. So the leader
Leading
has a
from
face like a
behind,
dog.
like Obama did.
Exactly, leading from behind. So the same way, and Hillary, for example, is a great example like that because she had zero integrity of a political position. It's whatever the polls say I should believe in, that's what I believe in. When the polls are in favor of the war, I'm in favor of the war. When they're against the war, I always hated the war. When it comes to gay marriage, I hate gay marriage. There should never be gay marriage. And then 10 years later, oh my gosh, I can't believe you guys are so anti-gay. What's wrong with you? Why don't we have gay marriage? Because that was what the polls are reflecting. She's leading from behind, and that is what it means faces like dogs. A dog, it also doesn't have accountability. It's the exact same thing. Instead of actually owning it, this is a decision I made, they basically will squirm away from it and try and assign the blame to someone other than themselves. And that's what someone who has a face like a dog has to do. It's because they don't have a position. They never had a position. The only position is, well, what were the polls telling me my position is? And that is what I will now take on as being my new position of the day. Whatever it is that the masses want, I want to be the one who's got the crown on saying this is what we want. And because I don't have any real integrity myself, someone without real integrity, they're not going to have accountability. There's zero accountability.
Right.
And in a certain sense, they're right because they didn't make the decision. They just followed whatever they were told. So to that sense, you can almost say, yeah, they're right because you never made a decision at all. So, but the only decision they made is whatever the polls tell me to say, that's what I'm going to say. And those people are squirmy little worms who never should have any sort of authority over anything. They're tiny little insignificant. They're insignificant humans. They're the worst possible leaders imaginable.
No, it's I agree, and I mean, to some respect, yeah, this guy knows he can't fully answer these questions, right? Mm-hmm. And he's got to watch, he's got to watch his job. But you're at the same time though, we got to contextualize this. He's going on Rogan.
He should have been prepared for that question.
After Rogan makes a giant stink about CNN lying about him, to the point of publicly threatening to sue CNN into the dirt, right? Like, he has made public statements about potentially suing CNN, and yet CNN is going to allow their chief medical analyst to go on to this show where he has to know this question is coming. Like,
not only has to, he's an idiot if he doesn't realize that's why he's been brought on.
Right.
To be asked these questions. Joe Rogan wants to put him on the spot. That's the only why he's inviting him now. He could have anyone he wants anytime. He happens to be getting CNN's medical doctor now. That's why you're there. You're right. He should be prepared for that.
Yeah, and so I think in that context, he should have had answers to these questions. And there are reasonable, non-nefarious, non-liability generating answers that, look, these are journalists. They don't know what they're talking about. They can't bring on a chief medical correspondent. They can't bring on a medical correspondent for every single segment in which they mention your issue. And many of these are opinion shows, as we know, that are commenting on the news of the day, but they are injecting their own opinions. I mean, that's the Maddow defense. Rachel Maddow literally invented it.
And that's what he should have been saying. That's what he should have been saying.
Yeah.
He should have been like, you know what? If there are news people going on, they're giving their opinion. So their opinion is obviously going to be in favor of vaccines over that medication. I don't want to fucking say that. I don't want.
I've already said it like 50 times. So.
Okay, so over ivermectin. So in that case, that's their opinion. So they're going to paint it in as unflattering a way as possible because they're expressing their opinion, and that is the way his legal counsel could have protected the channel and sort of set up their defense. That, hey, whoever said it, they were expressing their opinion that it's horse medicine, because it is horse medicine. So they're expressing that, and that's one way to refer to it. You can refer to it as horse medicine. You can call it the big eye. You can call it whatever the hell you want to call it. It is technically horse medicine that he was taking. So, yeah, you might not like it, but that's the reality. I mean, it's so stupid. That's like calling apples horse food. Like apples, the apple. Oh yeah, this guy's eating horse food. Yeah, okay.
Right. I ate some oatmeal this morning. I didn't actually eat oatmeal, but I had some the other day. So yeah, I was eating horse food, oats, barley, or whatever. I do want to point out, I love how Twitter trending has this labeled. CNN chief medical correspondent Dr. Sanjay Gupta appears on comedian Joe Rogan's podcast. as if
He's
like,
a comedian?
Yeah, Joe used to do stand up. He used to be a comedian. The funny thing is, like, Joe Rogan was a comedian, and now he's one of the most broadcast commentators, talk shows that exist.
I think he's the most. I think he's got the biggest podcast on the globe.
Now that Rush is dead, right? Like,
yeah.
I don't know the nature of podcasting versus broadcasting is pretty hard to distinguish, but he's definitely, up there at the top if he's not the top. And so it's like Joe Rogan kind of was a comedian, I guess, at some point. Not anymore, though. No one knows him as a comedian.
That's what I'm saying. I never even thought of him as being a comedian. I mean, his fame as a comedian is infinitesimal compared to his fame as a podcast host.
It's because he's not funny.
Right. I never heard him say anything remotely funny. By the way, speaking of Rush, how did you not try and sweep in there and just absorb his audience? I mean, his audience had to go somewhere. They had to be watching something.
The golden EIB microphone. God, that'd be great. Rush. How does anybody do? Who did he pass the reins to? Like, did Bo Snerdley take over the show?
I don't know. I'm just saying someone has to get. I mean, how many hundreds of thousands of followers, millions of followers did this guy have? And
yeah, it's huge.
They didn't all go to Ben Shapiro, so
I have no idea who even took it over. Clay and the other guy, Clay Travis. It doesn't. I don't know if it would work.
I think I can do it better.
And Buck Sexton. I mean, I like Buck Sexton, okay, but those guys do not. I mean, that's not Rush. It's not even close. But I don't know who fills those. Like, how do you fill those shoes? Like, how do you even do it?
Yeah.
I honestly don't know. But no. So I want to be clear because there might be some people misunderstanding. When I say Joe Rogan isn't funny and isn't a comedian, it's because Joe Rogan isn't funny, and he's not a good stand-up comic. That's fine. Neither am I. I'm a terrible stand-up comic. You would never want to see a stand-up act by me. Well, I mean, you might want to, but you'll regret it later. They're just. I'm not a good joke teller, and Joe Rogan isn't either. That's why he's not doing Dave Chappelle Netflix stand-up acts. That's why he's got the biggest podcast on the planet, because he's an excellent podcast host and conversationalist. That's what he's good at. Yeah. But yeah, so I just love that Twitter frames it as doctor goes on comedian podcast. It's like, oh, fuck you. You pieces of shit.
Like, he's the irony is, like, they're almost painting it like he's the important one compared to insignificant comedian Joe Rogan. That's the way they're framing that. It's like he's great, like doctor is gracing comedian Joe Rogan's podcast with his presence, as if Joe Rogan doesn't have like 1,000 fans for every one that Dr. Gupta has.
Yeah. Wait, Dr. Gupta doesn't have fans. That's actually the dark secret of like news correspondent people, is unless they are independently sourced for their own fan base. Like, for example, if Joe Rogan was hired by NBC to do like media correspondence or something, then they're bringing Joe Rogan's, like they're hiring Joe Rogan's audience for views. But Sanjay Gupta is not like, at least as far as I know, he's not like some podcaster or something with a following. He's a doctor hired by CNN.
He has 2.5 million followers on Twitter.
Twitter followers are not, they don't translate in the same way. And you know
that's
that.
true. That's true.
Like, okay, I'm going to
pull
pull
it still,
up.
2.5 million followers. I'm looking at it right now.
Yeah, I'm pulling it up so we can pull it up on the thing. He's the only person I know that follows him is Sergeant Slaughter. So here he is. But let's take a look at the important stuff here. Okay.
I mean, compared to Joe Rogan, who's got 7.5 million.
Here's his book announcement from September 22nd, 400 likes. I walked into the Lion's Den and spoke with Rogan, so he gets 10,000 likes here. But let's find something. Oh, here we go. 186 likes. This guy has 2.5 million followers.
Yeah, that's amazing. That's
Here we
amazing.
go. 100 likes on this. Look what showed up today. Here's my book next to a crappily carved pumpkin or whatever. If I posted this same tweet, like if I posted this tweet.
Can you do that? This is what I want you to do. I want you to steal the picture right now. Steal a picture and just copy word for word, but don't retweet it. Just write it out yourself and then see. I'll bet you can get more than 101 likes.
What I want to do, I want to get his book and put it in front of a pumpkin carved by a Parkinson's patient.
Just steal the picture. Just copy the picture, steal the picture, and say, "Look what showed up on the porch today."
Yeah,
can't wait to carve into this one, and just do that.
Okay, let's do it. Okay, so
this is gonna be awesome. I will bet anything. I think you can double his likes and 9 retweets. Your goal is 18 retweets.
Twitter.com. I'm gonna copy his text word for word, even tagging him.
Yeah.
Even tagging him.
Yeah. Yeah, but not a retweet. So no one like comes back to him.
Okay.
But you guys copy the picture also.
Yeah, I'll pull it up.
Beautiful.
So here's me sending the tweet. Right? It's the exact same. Right? Here's his tweet. Here's my tweet. It's got a little bit different spacing here because of how I don't know.
Yeah.
But we'll tweet it.
Did you is there a period after that or you didn't? All right, whatever.
I don't know.
Okay.
Okay, so it fixed the formatting here. So
Beautiful.
we're like the same.
He didn't put a period at the end of it either, so there you go.
Yeah. So we got it. We'll see. We'll see if we break 100 likes. I don't know. 100 likes and 9 retweets. He one of them's him. He retweeted. Oh wait, no. Okay, wait. Sorry, this is a bad example. This is someone else's retweet, or this is someone else's tweet.
Oh crap!
This is his tweet.
Damn it!
I'm gonna delete this. This isn't a fair.
Yeah, take that down. That's not.
Fight.
Yeah, that's not fair.
We're already killing it.
23 retweets.
I'm gonna leave it. I'm leaving it for now. Fine. I'm gonna bury this poor Shantanu Nundy.
Oh, that's so great.
Okay, I hate how other people do Twitter because of this. So here's saying thank you. Now this one's got 900, but I mean, this is a guy with I love that. My mom and I sometimes do the same thing.
2.5 million followers. That's what we call very soft followers. Very, very soft followers.
This is how Twitter goes because the thing is, Dr. Sanjay Gupta. Let's do the real interesting thing. This is interesting to me because this type of stuff is what I do for a living. So if I say it's interesting and you disagree, you're right. But it's interesting to me. So I'm talking to the chat. You're wrong if you disagree. So here's his social blade on Twitter. All right. So let's see. In the past 30 days, he's gained 175 followers. He's done 88 tweets. Now,
I never check out Social Blade. I never look at my own Social Blade. Am I supposed to do that?
No, don't. But the good
I'll
thing,
be depressed.
I like this. He doesn't tweet a lot, which is good. He's got an overall not great trend, except for he got a nice bump going on Rogan, right? He gains 1,300 followers after his Rogan appearance. But typically speaking, it's a mixed bag. His daily average comes out to +5, and that's with a 1,300 bump on one of these days. So big outlier numbers there. But let's look at this. Monthly gained followers. So he gained back in July of 2017. Look at him. He's gaining, boom, 100,000 followers in a month, 85,000, 30,000.
How is he doing that?
Something blew him up back in 2017. And then he loses 161,000 followers in July of 2018 for whatever reason. And so then he's got this weird back and forth relationship. He might have been blocking people. Who knows? That could be the big losses. Then he's got these 2 months, 50,000 people. So you got to ask yourself, like, what happened? What happened at these big spikes? This is why Twitter followers are really deceiving and of low value, because these people 100,000 people, most of them don't read what he writes. right? Like most of them do not. He said something that they're like, yeah, we're gonna do it, and then he doesn't get the interaction from it. Like you said, they're soft follows, but the reason they're soft follows is because they're just Twitter has this ability for people to click follow and then never interact with the Twitter account again. It doesn't translate. So if Sanjay Gupta goes and creates a YouTube channel without like CNN backing, no one's gonna watch it. Like, what are they gonna do? Like,
Right.
why would you? But I've seen this a lot because I followed Law Twitter and their antics, and like Greg Doucette is a big fucking dummy, but Greg Doucette blew up because he was covering the Black Lives Matter protests. But if you go and look at his timeline, no one cares what he's writing about if he's not literally live broadcast or live tweeting from a Black Lives Matter protest in Durham, North Carolina. Like they just, other than that, he gets no interaction. So it's this weird inorganic explosion. So I never pay attention, or I never rate people based on their Twitter following in the positive, because it's not useful. 1,300 likes. This is a Late Show appearance. Like I feel like if I went on the Late Show, a comparable show, I feel like I would. I feel like you would too.
Yeah,
because that's something like our audiences would be really interested to see. Like, holy
excited
crap.
to see you. You're right. 1,300 for being on the Late Show. That's pretty sad.
He's got 637 on it. Oh, he's submitting his thesis. I wrote a book that just got published by a major publishing house. It's like 600 likes. That's all you can muster. That's how excited your base is. You know this book is selling like garbage, right?
Right. Absolutely.
600 likes. Oh my God.
I didn't realize, by the way, that all these authors who write these books, I mean, almost without exception, maybe Peterson is the exception to it. Like when they write a book, like their goal is to sell like 5,000 books, 7,000, 10,000 books. That's it. That's it.
I learned this a long time ago I started doing this show.
I don't know how they make money. How are they making freaking money?
It's amazing, right?
No, seriously. If you're selling 10,000 books, you're selling for $25 each. I mean, let's think about this. So that's $2.5 million, right?
$25 at 10,000 books is $250,000, right?
200? No.
10, oh shit! Lawyer math. Okay, I'm doing it.
Oh, you're right. It is 250,000.
Yeah, times 25, $250,000. That's $250,000.
It's nothing.
That's
it's
total revenue
nothing.
too. That's not.
I mean, then you got to count out the printer and the promotion and stuff like that. Like, how does anyone get these $10 million book deals? How many copies of Obama's book are being sold ultimately? Even if they sell 100,000, unless they sell 1 million of them, they're getting killed on it.
Mm-hmm. No, it's amazing. So like, you're right. Like Jordan Peterson, his book is selling.
I think he
higher.
literally sells hundreds of thousands of books.
He does. But the reason that Jordan Peterson sells hundreds of thousands of books is he's fostered a community that's big enough to support that sort of endeavor. And that's what we see, in the realm of like comics and Comicsgate is someone like Ethan Van Sciver. He can turn selling 4,000 or 5,000 comics into $800,000 to $1 million. Like he can do that by adding on a bunch of perks, by selling some tiers that people will pay $5,000 for because they get, a personal appearance in the book or whatever, that type of stuff. But that's not what these guys are doing. And I learned all this because, my show started covering Dick Masterson versus Maddox lawsuit. And both of those guys had books, but Maddox's book was an actual New York Times bestseller. And you're like, wow, that's a really impressive feat. And then you find he was talking about it on a show one time. There was 20,000 copies.
Right. That's what I'm saying.
Like,
that's the New York Times, the number one New York Times bestseller is 20,000. You're like, are you kidding me? Like that's all? That's all? That's nothing.
Then when you compare like a real breakout success, like I'm gonna say it, 50 Shades of Grey sells 100 million copies.
Okay, yeah.
And like the disparity between like this is I want to remind people, this is the chief medical analyst for CNN, one of the quote unquote most respected media organizations on the planet. And he is their top medical guy selling a book about the pandemic while a global pandemic is happening. Like, that's what he's selling. This book should sell. This book should sell like the Bible, right? Like in a sanely ordered world where people actually trust these organizations. And you realize that this is all a facade, because these organizations are built on credibility of decades ago, 5 decades ago of credibility.
And they've so long ago eroded any credibility that they have.
Yeah.
Although I come across idiots every once in a while. Some of the flock who just still bray in time. They still bray in time and believe all of the crap, and they have no desire to ever leave that echo bubble. They're just firmly entrenched in there, like you in your narcolepsy safe space kind of thing. That's how tightly entrenched they are in the.
They've got a real marketing problem going here too. So I was trying to find his name or his numbers, World War C, right? And unless you type in World War C book Sanjay Gupta, unless you type that in, you actually get Call of Duty. Call of Duty, the video game sales numbers.
Oh, okay, so that's unfortunate.
This is the #1 best-selling in forensic medicine category on Amazon.
How many sales?
Let me see if they have a thing. It's got 16 reviews.
All right.
16 reviews. Come on, where are the stats on this thing?
I learned this because Mark Dice is a New York Times best-selling author, and he's always challenging Stelter to, like, you know, the loser will donate to the winner's charity, that they, like, when he's coming out with a book, that he's going to basically crush Stelter. And he does, left and right. Like he kills Brian Stelter.
So this is it's ranked number 1,222 overall in books.
Number 1,122?
1,222 overall. Number 1 in forensic medicine.
Obviously.
Number two in vaccinations. What's beating him in vaccinations? I've got to know. The Real Anthony Fauci by wait.
Oh, there you go.
Bill Gates, Big Pharma, and the Global War on Democracy and Public Health.
Oh.
Robert Kennedy Jr.
Nice.
That's the book that is beating World War C. It's got the number 1 section, and it's also got the number 3 section. So that's winning. Robert F. Kennedy Jr. Like, isn't he like a commie, or is he not a commie?
Apparently not. So, yeah, but you can't find out how many sales he had.
No,
the reason I brought Mark Dice is because apparently he's able, when he's looking up his sales, he can tell how many sales he's had versus how many Stelter's had.
Oh, I'm sure they're industry metrics. I'm looking for the sales numbers.
I think they look through Amazon, right? Are you looking at Amazon?
Yeah, I'll pull up the Amazon page and show you what I see. Do you see what I see? So here's the book. Do I have it pulled up? I don't have it pulled up yet. Here we go.
Let's see here.
So here we go. So here's the number 1 in forensic medicine. And because I've seen what you're talking about.
I would have spelled forensic PH, so there that just shows.
You would have spelled forensic PH? I was going to say, Joe, get off my stream. But yeah, so, I mean, I don't know where the actual numbers are, though.
Forensics.
Like, it shows this. But, oh, God, the Fauci pre-order book. It's got one star rating already.
Nice.
Yeah, I don't know where you find the actual sales numbers. I know that there is an Amazon, like, an industry page, basically, that allows people to look up numbers.
Maybe you have to be like an actual author so you can like see that up, or like.
Yeah, I think you have to have access to their back end, but I know that there's ways to do it. I'm just really want to know how many actual copies have been sold. But it's hard to find. So releases October 5th. All right. Okay. Again, this guy has the backing of CNN, and you'd think that there would be some more interest.
But CNN's own numbers are tanking, so.
Yeah, no, I know. I'm speaking in the abstract, not in the in the practicality.
In a world the world we should be living in, if they didn't intentionally stab themselves in the Frankenbeans.
Okay, so this is not what I was going on Twitter for. I was going on Twitter for something completely different. Go to Crowder. Here we go. This is a hard strike from YouTube, and wow, this is terrifying. We covered specific documented instances of rape. YouTube says not allowed. All parents should take note. I'll have you note that Crowder is able to generate 5,000 likes on this. If you believe in the insane notion of biological sex, you'll be silenced. More to come. How many followers? Crowder has half the followers.
Yeah, but they're real followers.
Exactly. So here we go. So this is to half Asian lawyer Bill Richmond, subject Steven Crowder, from apparently someone at YouTube. It says, counsel, we write again on YouTube's behalf regarding your client, Steven Crowder. YouTube has repeatedly instructed Mr. Crowder regarding its hate speech policy and warned him against continuing violations of that policy through content he uploaded to YouTube. YouTube specifically informed Mr. Crowder that videos he uploaded showed a pattern of recklessly targeting the LGBTQ plus community for abuse and insults. How do you have a pattern of recklessly targeting? Like that's such a lawyer sentence, but recklessness would
imply
not comport
targeting.
With targeting.
right. It's like inciting insurrection.
Yeah, it's like you were recklessly hitting LGBTQ targets. It's how like that one.
You're recklessly attacking them with surgical precision.
So it warned that further uploading of content that targets, insults, and or abuses. Now notice that targets the LGBTQ plus community would result in additional penalties. On September 30th, Mr. Crowder uploaded another video that YouTube has determined continues his prior conduct. The video entitled Special Guest Alex Jones on Great Reset and Joe Rogan Triggers Leftists Again contains a segment that targets the transgender community in an offensive manner. For example, by indicating that trans people pose a rape threat to women. Now, what I want to point out here is that the story they're talking about is this Loudon County, Virginia story, which Loudon County has allowed multi-gendered bathroom use, right? Mm-hmm. And a male wearing a skirt went into a bathroom in a Loudon County high school and raped a ninth grader. Raped a ninth grade female in the bathroom. Has actually been charged with rape, with forcible sodomy, with forcible oral copulation in Loudon County. Has been charged. The dad of this person went to the school board meeting. The superintendent...
The dad of the trans or the victim?
The victim.
Okay.
Now get this. This is the second rape from the same student who, after the first rape, was allowed to go back to the school and then raped again. And when the dad brought it up at the Loudon County School Board meeting, the superintendent said, despite there being actual charges filed, said that this didn't occur, that there is no instances of rape at the school. None of this has happened. And then the dad was arrested and has been used by Merrick Garland and the beautiful souls over at the FBI as an example of domestic terrorism targeting school board members.
Wow.
This story is insane. And this is what Crowder's talking about. And they're talking about how it's saying that the LGBT or trans people pose a rape threat to women. I don't know about trans people. I don't even know if the boy in the skirt who went into the bathroom is actually trans. Like I don't know if this person identifies as trans. or if they just did it for the purpose of going to the bathroom. I have no idea. But the fact that this person is definitely a rape threat to women, and the evidence is rape 2. just the 2, though.
But the superintendent is claiming he raped 0.
Superintendent very carefully said, that there are no offenses of this kind going on.
How does the superintendent know that?
I
don't understand that.
They just lie. School administrators are like police. They lie.
I don't know how we live in this country any longer.
So it goes on, consistent with the recklessness provisions of its hate speech policy. Do you know YouTube apparently has a reckless hate speech policy? I have no idea. YouTube has removed this video from the service and assessed a strike against the Steven Crowder channel. Per YouTube strike policy, this results in a 1-week upload freeze for the channel. Further violation of YouTube's hate speech policy will result in additional penalties.
I'm a very masculine, closeted trans woman.
Yes.
That makes me now impenetrable from any type of attack. You can't.
Drexel always says it, and I agree. I'm a masculine presenting transgender lesbian.
Yeah, prove I'm wrong. Prove I'm wrong. So now,
look, I love vaginas, but I firmly established yesterday # not all vaginas. Very important distinction here.
Yes. Yeah. Okay. I don't want to even roll down that one. I'm gonna just pretend I have.
Well, I don't think you like all vaginas either.
No, right? I just don't want to start. I don't want to start assessing.
No, you don't. You don't need to. You're married. You're a married woman.
That's right. I'm a married woman.
Yeah. No. It's just.
Sorry, fellas. I'm taken.
That's right. That's right. No, this came up because of a pet peeve of mine.
Sorry, fella. This meat is off the market.
I called someone a vagina on Twitter, and every time I do that, right, someone comes in and is like, no, vaginas are great. And I'm like, oh, no. Look, we need to stop this. We need to stop this simpery, this automatic simpery, because there's a very limited set of vaginas that the average man is interested in. Like, and I don't know of any guy or woman who's like, no, I love literally all of them. Yeah, just let me bathe in them. Nobody's like that. That's gross. So it's just a pet peeve of mine.
Yeah.
It's just, you regret coming on this show every single time.
Every time. I'm like, I don't even gain any followers from this. I don't know
what.
Why.
Yes, you do. Yes, you
not
do.
Anymore. I
you guys get your asses out there and subscribe.
I've wrung this one out. I don't know. I let them all. I get them all like laughing, and then like they're like, well, we can't wait till Nick has him back. He has a channel. Oh yeah, I'm too lazy. I can't possibly go over to Good Lawgic and like sign up for his channel.
It's in the description.
It's in the freaking description.
What else could I even
just click
do?
It. Click the bell. If you're not clicking the bell, you're dead to me. You're useless. You're never going to hear about me. You'll never hear anything's coming up. I also stream right before Nick comes on for 2 hours. 2 hours.
Can we talk about this ring the bell thing?
Yeah.
Here's YouTube's problem. So everybody does this, like all the successful channels that YouTube loves. They put the little thing, the little video graphic that's like, click subscribe, click the little bell, bing, right? It does all that crap.
Hmm.
That's actually only part of the steps that you have to take. There's another step. You have to enable YouTube notifications on your devices. So you can click the bell all you want, but if you don't have YouTube notifications specifically enabled on your phone and computer or whatever, you still won't get the notification.
Wow.
Because YouTube is that stupid that they can... The smartest, biggest AI company on the planet that can figure out that I want to watch Chef Jean-Pierre make a fucking butter poached salmon fillet. Like, they can figure that out when I've never watched this guy's channel in my life. And they're like, this guy wants to see a fucking old French chef make a butter poached salmon. I'm like, yeah, I really do. And they can figure that out, but they can't figure out how to just send out a goddamn notification. Why not? Joe, I feel like if I was able to code anything on the internet at all, the first thing I would figure out is how to send out a notification to everybody who's ever even seen my thing.
Here's the thing, though. Here's the thing that's so weird. I understand that they're leftists. I understand that they don't really love your content or my content, right? I mean,
My content is beautiful, and yours is great. I don't know why they don't.
they're
Like
not going to like us. YouTube don't like you. Susan doesn't like you. She doesn't like me. That's okay. But don't they recognize the fact that the people, it's still money for them? I mean, do they? It's like it's not going to hurt them if someone watches your videos or watches my videos. Like someone who's
only helps.
watching our crap is not going to be going over and watching, like Adam Ruins Everything. Your audience is not watching Adam Ruins Everything.
if you
or
watch
Trevor
Adam
Noah.
Ruins Everything,
Don't
I'm
watch
gonna-
me. Don't
Yeah.
watch. Don't come to me. I don't want you to unclick the bell. Yeah, but my point is they're not watching Trevor Noah. So why wouldn't they want these people to, at least if they're being watching somewhere, they're alive? Why not send our fans notifications of our crap, so at least they're on YouTube rather than, I don't know, playing Fortnite? Wouldn't you
Yes.
rather them just be watching us than be playing Fortnite? I mean,
we're
doesn't that
here
help you,
selling
Susan?
ads. It's all.
Yeah.
That's the thing that bothers me so much about YouTube, and it's what I was talking to my channel, my partner manager about the other day. So it's like I said to her, I said, I know you don't believe me, but I'm pretty sure I've been on a YouTube list for a very long time, because I see how other channels get interaction on their videos, and I will cover a topic that I know my audience and a broader audience are both interested in, and it will go nowhere. We talk about this all the time. I know for a fact that this topic is interesting to people, and I look at comparably sized channels and how they get interaction on other videos, and like it doesn't add up. So I have a feeling I'm on a list. She's like, yeah, we don't do that. And I'm like, yes, you do. Like somewhere there's something holding it back. And it's the most frustrating thing in the world, because like the ad sells either way. Right? Like that when we make short videos, that's all we're doing. We're an ad salesman.
Mm-hmm.
That's it. And so the ad that runs on the conservative channel is, especially on the legal channels, right? I get law firms advertise on my channel because they're dumb, I guess. But they do. And so it's like that ad doesn't care who watches it, right? The law firm's like, we just want our name out there in case someone gets in a car accident while watching this video. Like that's what we want to do.
Hold on a second. The advertisers on YouTube, they choose which content providers they're going to go on. I mean,
It's
so
not
you're
that
saying if I see a
specific.
commercial for something on my channel, so that is a choice that the person buying the commercial said, "Oh, I want to go on Good Logic."
Let me be very particular about how this works, because that is a bad summary of how it works. What they do is they go, we have target demographics. We want to target men or women between the ages of 26 and 48. We want them to generally be listeners of the Daily Wire, Fox News, Steven Crowder, right? Like this is like a Patriot Supply or something that wants to do an ad. So we want people who generally favor conservative content, and we want them to be a news type show. That's what we think. And so then YouTube will aggregate a list of channels that have overlap, like a Venn diagram that overlaps well with those requirements. And so then
So we got classified as being parts of various demographics, and then they'll look.
one
for
of them
commercials
that we
fit into
get, one of them that we get that's a really good one is legal services or professional services, right? So I'm a law channel, talks
Right.
about anime with testicles or whatever,
Right.
but I'm a law channel, and so when I do videos that talk about the law, I get a high CPM because professional services like lawyers go, we want to advertise on people who are looking at legal content online because they're more likely to remember a law firm that advertises to them on a law video. That makes sense. And so we get that sort of treatment and professional services, and those tend to be high value ads. Whereas, so like my CPM,
You make more if it's a high value ad.
yeah. Oh yeah, absolutely. So like if I do a 15-minute video, right, about Derek Chauvin. My CPM on that video is going to be like $11 to $15. And then we tend to make 45% of that. So that means for every 1,000 qualified views, an advertiser pays $15, and then we get 45% of it. Okay. These channels that cover like movies or whatever, and pop culture, their CPM on a video is going to be like $6 or something. Maybe because they're the type of ad that's being put onto someone who's watching a video about Marvel movies isn't as high value unless there's a specific Marvel movie that will advertise on it. So there's a lot that goes into it. It also has to do with how big your channel is, how the distribution goes,
Right.
and all these, like I said, overlapping Venn diagrams lead to higher value ads.
Right.
But yes, there are different prices for different ads.
So you're saying
that run.
I always want to be clicking off. I never want to be clicking off entertainment. I want to be clicking off the law thing. When they ask me when I'm setting up a stream, like the nature of the type of stream, I always should be clicking off law rather than entertainment, because ultimately, when my viewership goes over 3 million, I'll be making more money for being known as a law channel than an entertainment channel.
You're almost never going to make ads off of live stream content. Ad money just does not come in.
Right.
So
what I'm saying is I'll be algorithmically inclinated towards law that way if I'm constantly just doing it. I would think, no?
Yeah, I mean, it helps, but there isn't a law section.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, there's news and politics is the closest that you get.
Right, news and politics as opposed to entertainment.
Right. Yeah. But you know, the algorithm also determines what your content is. Like that's the absent of what tags you put on it. The algorithm is an AI that does A/B testing, and it's really stupid, but it's also very smart. They know how to sell ads. Let's put it that way. That's YouTube's entire business model is selling advertisements. So they're quite good at it too. This got real deep. Sorry. This is
No,
not-
that's
this is
okay.
real
I
deep.
just want there's a lot I'm still learning the industry, so.
Yeah.
And hey, I learned a trick that you didn't learn, which is I set up call-ins. So there you go. I've had
Are
that
you
first-
implying that I don't know how to do call-ins?
I guess you don't
You know,
want
I've done
that.
a call-in show.
You've done call-in shows before?
Yeah,
I never saw that.
I'm not a huge fan of them.
Eh,
Because you never know who's going to call in.
That's true. That's true. I actually had a section there where I had like a bunch of teenage kids who were like trolling me, and I had to like turn off my call-in phone. But
Aw. See?
but yeah, but I actually got really good feedback on it. So I've been trying it out. People like talking to someone. You see, I'm still not big enough yet. People can still talk to me. I'm big enough that people want to talk to me, and not big enough that I don't want to talk to them. I'm in that right zone.
The reason I don't do call-in shows is because, well,
Why the hell would you?
it's such a I kind of like it, but I do not get a lot of positive feedback on them. I get a
Okay.
lot of negative feedback on them because
Alright.
you know.
No,
but
so
it-
I had some kids like I had one guy call in and scream the N-word, and then I like hung up on them, and then the next guy called in, and
that's another reason I don't do it.
yeah.
Hello, Mr. Good Logic. I would like to tell you about the Jews.
We're gonna go back to that.
What was my favorite part about OJ running from the police? The Jews were loose. You know, like what? Imagine these weird call-ins. Well, you don't have to imagine. You've had them.
No, but most of them have been really solid. And also, like I get into the whole audience interaction at a certain point.
No,
So,
yeah,
my
I was
humanities.
watching you today. You do good call-ins. You do
Thanks.
good call-ins.
Thank you.
For some reason for me, it's always weird. But of course, the call-in shows that I've done have always had Drexel. So, well, or no, I did one without Drexel, but usually it's with Drexel. So a guy will call in and be like, so. When you're having sex with another man's wife, and it's like, oh Jesus Christ, please stop. Okay, so let me hit some of these super chats because it's
Yeah, let's
getting
do it.
late. It's
Let's
getting
do it.
really late, and I know it's really late for you. Generalissimo says, "Did you see the tweet from Dr. Pierre Corey alleging that over 100 members of Congress have obtained the I-word drug scripts for themselves, staffs, and families. The same people calling it ineffectual and moving to block its use. Well, I mean, technically, there could be 100 members of Congress that are not opposed to the evil I-word drug, but no, I've not seen the tweet about it, and though we have talked a lot, I don't know. My point of bringing up ivermectin was merely that I called my doctor and I said, I want the antibody treatment. I want Regeneron. That's the number one treatment that everybody talks about. And they wouldn't give it to me. And I said, what about every other treatment? I've heard about ivermectin. I've heard about steroids. I've heard about these other types of things. Is there anything out there for me? And my doctor responded back, no, you don't get shit. Just die already, which is an exaggeration, but that's how it felt at the time. And then a couple days later, I'd kick the main stuff and stuff. But that was the point of bringing it up. It's like my approach to illness is like, well, let's throw the sink at it, right? Mm-hmm. This is why we live in the West. I thought that's always been the advantage of the American medical system. It's like
that was part of the whole. Didn't Trump pass a law that you have the freedom of choice of whatever type of medication you want, like the freedom to try whatever you want to try?
You should maybe.
Or was that ripped up? I think that was ripped up. That might have been ripped up by Joe Biden.
Probably. And someone in my chat said something so brilliant and so poignant. And they said, Nick, your doctor forgot that they are a store. And I was like, yes. And we have mystified the practice of medicine, but the doctor is it's just a Walgreens approval mechanism. Like you go in and they say, here's your things. Here's the medication we're going to try for you. Here you go. Now you have the permission to go and buy the thing. And it was like, that is the most spot on assessment of what's going on with my doctor. I don't know about everybody else's, but I've been thoroughly pissed off by this because my doctor literally forgot that they're a store. It's like if I call my doctor and say, "Hey, I want antibody treatment. I want ivermectin. I want whatever. I want to talk about a steroid. I want to talk about do I need an antibiotic for a secondary infection?" Like my doctor should go and consult with me on these medications, not go, well, we do this one and nothing else I'm going to talk to you about. And then not even give me the first one. Like, what the hell? I'm at the store. You have supply. Sell it to me. That's all this should be. This is transactional.
That's what it should be, at least.
Yeah. Michael Archangel says, wanted to say that this many months ago, my most humble apologies to Mr. Alex Jones for calling him an idiot, mostly because of Sandy Hook. He was set up for the fall. The full story is hidden. Of course, 95+% of what he says is truth. Here's the thing with Alex Jones. Alex Jones is a great entertainer, and his delivery is part of the entertainment. And his delivery is hyperbolic, and his delivery is outlandish and wildly engaging because of it. But it also has a safety mechanism that he's able to shield away criticism of some of his commentary for a couple reasons. One, his info might be wrong, as anybody commentating may be wrong. And two, some of his info is hard for anybody else to verify. And it's funny because now the meme is, what didn't Alex Jones get right? Right? Like that's it. And one of the things, and this is the most frustrating thing about his Sandy Hook lawsuit and all the talk about it, is one of the things he says he didn't get right is Sandy Hook. Mm-hmm. Like that's the one thing he says, I got bad info from a guy who's given me good info before. And it's a real shame that he's being hung on the Sandy Hook stuff. Because let me ask you, what damages in a legal sense can the court provide a remedy for the parents of these dead kids? That
so
Alex
what did he
Jones,
say? What did he say about Sandy Hook that he was wrong on?
It's complicated, but let's simplify it and say that Alex Jones said that Sandy Hook was a false flag event and the dead children were crisis actors. That is not actually fully accurate, but let's simplify it because that's the narrative. So let's say I say that about a dead school shooting kid. So I come out and I say, and I'm Alex Jones, and I say this is a false flag event, and that's a Christ actor, and that kid's not really dead. What damage can the court remedy? This has been my biggest issue with this defamation case. I'm not sure.
So it's defamation. I mean, the whole concept of defamation is always kind of dumb, because unless you're talking about actual damages someone sustained, which go prove that there were actual damages ever.
You sometimes
how do you
can,
ever
right?
remedy? How do you ever remedy that sort of, like, how do you assess how much it got out, or how much people believed him, and how much pain that caused the person? And all personal injury is just a scam if you think about it. The entire personal injury industry is kind of a scam, because you have
Attorney Tom's on suicide watch right now.
I love Attorney Tom, and I'll tell you, some people I really like and respect as being great attorneys are PI attorneys. But what I'm saying is the whole industry. I'm not even saying that PI attorneys are a scam. Because they actually are. What they're doing is they're earning the great grift. That's why you're finding a really good PI attorney. Because ultimately, when you're trying to assess how much pain and suffering someone had from something, and then it's all about finding a right jury that's going to be really sympathetic, and the same injuries, same circumstances, same thing. You could have literally a disparity as far as what the person's personal injuries are, ranging from being $5,000 to literally being $20 million.
Yep.
And it's like so dumb. Like when it's that disparate, it's that subjective. I mean, maybe that's a little bit extreme, but seriously, between 100,000 and 20 million.
Yep.
Once you get to 100,000, it could be 20 million or 10 million very easily, as we saw with the McDonald's case, where a woman burned herself, and then her pain and suffering. All personal injury is like that.
Well,
you're hoping.
Her case was right, though.
Whose case was right? The
McDonald's woman.
Yeah, I actually had a personal injury attorney when I hosted a radio show many years ago. So I had a personal injury attorney come on who was a very, very smart guy. He was actually he's probably one of the few people who graduated Harvard Law and ended up becoming a personal injury attorney. And he walked my audience through the McDonald's story and why it was that she got the award that she got, and how they were trying to punish McDonald's for knowing better. And
yes, and to be clear, McDonald's, like, classic liability and foreseeability in how they were doing their product, and their reason, they're delivering this coffee at like 190 degrees Fahrenheit. And part of the reason they did that, which came out in deposition, was that they wanted it to be so hot that the person wouldn't be able to drink the coffee while they're sitting in the store eating their breakfast. That way it would cut down on refills. I mean, there's no reason on earth to deliver 195 degree coffee in a mass services industry like McDonald's.
Right.
Now, you can deliver 140 degree coffee. That's too hot to drink. That will burn your mouth.
Right. I think it got to get down to like 120 or something.
Yeah, 120 will scald skin in like 15 seconds. So that's like pushing the limits of how hot something can be that you're consuming, which is fine. McDonald's is doing that. Like, it was way too hot. The lids were not secure. And this is all like classic liability. And the story bothers me because it's really easy to say, oh, some woman spilled coffee on herself. And when you see like that her vagina was fused together by burns, caused by this stuff, and you're like, this is too far. Like, we know, it's like the we know it when we see it thing, right? Like, actually happened in this case. Like, okay, this is too far, and someone should have seen this coming, because if you spill that hot of liquid on any part of you, it will be burned. And the fact that it's going into a car, the likelihood of it spilling on a lap is really high. But yeah, that
easily meets the Paul's graph test. But
and what you're saying, though, and this is very good.
But
if that woman had a different attorney, she's got a policy payout of $100,000.
Right, and that's my point. When it's that subjective, how can anyone ever say How can anyone ever say this is a fair amount of damages a person sustained? And defamation falls under the category of personal injury, where it's like, who's to say what the person's real pain and suffering is, and how much the speaker should be punished, or whatever. I mean, look, people are going to look to punish Alex Jones and say you're profiteering specifically from spreading this kind of crap message. And they'll try and portray him. If I was the personal injury attorney, I would try and portray him as someone who has made his nut by lying about people. That is how you portray it. That this guy is a multi-millionaire because he spends all day long lying to the public and saying the craziest things possible to try and dupe gullible people into believing his crap, and he doesn't care who he hurts. And that's how I would portray it. And the fact that he hurt my client and that he obviously stepped on their feelings and didn't care about someone whose 6-year-old kid they just buried, and he's claiming that this is all a lie. She's trying to bury, this mother's trying to bury her little child who was gunned down, and you show pictures of the little child gunned down, and this jackass clown who's always lying and making his millions and millions of dollars from lying decides he's going to add on to my client's suffering and say that she's a liar and that her kid was an actor. Can you imagine the pain she was feeling and the millions of followers that he has? It's a very easy thing to pitch, to sell, and for him to admit
easy thing to pitch. But what's really hard is to bring it down, and this is what I'm asking. What's the concrete damage number? Because at the end of the day,
it's all subjective.
Like, you can get a defamation award that says that the other person lied about you, and the damages could literally be $45 in court fees. Right. Like, so I'm trying to figure out what is actually the damage. Is there damage? I mean, I know that there's two types of damage in the legal world. There's damage, and then there's damage that a court can remedy, and that is dollars. In most states, that's called economic damage.
But Sandy Hook, this was in New York, right? I mean, he's
Connecticut.
He's being sued in Connecticut?
He's being sued in Texas.
He's being sued in Texas.
Yes. He actually lost 2 of the lawsuits in Texas. He's also being sued in Connecticut. He should be being sued in federal court. But that's actually a fascinating legal story, how the Alex Jones Connecticut lawsuit, where Alex Jones, who's in Texas with no ties to Connecticut, gets hailed into state court in Connecticut because he interviewed a guy whose driver was from Connecticut. The driver of the guy, because
how is that purposefully availing himself of Connecticut?
Because they wanted this thing in Connecticut. That's how. That's the answer. And the Alex Jones Sandy Hook lawsuits is like a whole classic case study in how to break the legal system. Because how the legal system breaks when there's a public agenda. Because there's no way Alex Jones should be brought into Connecticut in state court. Federal court in Connecticut, sure. I think they could probably exercise personal jurisdiction over Alex Jones.
Well, you can also get a change of venue from Connecticut to wherever he's living.
He's in Texas. So the Texas lawsuits make sense because some of the families lived in Texas. I don't know the story behind why their kid was in a school in Connecticut. I don't know if they moved after. I don't know what it is, but they sued in Texas because Alex Jones is in Texas. That makes sense. But suing in Connecticut state court should not have happened. That's a federal case. Anyway. Yeah. Sorry, that's a long diatribe. Cloud Duel 13 says Vest stream time. Let's go talk about how StarCraft is better than Warhammer in Trump voice. I will not. It is not. Very wrong. Very wrong. StarCraft inferior. It's an inferior product from an inferior company. Terrible. Blizzard. Have you heard of them? They love China. They love China.
They love China.
They worship at the altar of the Chinese Taoist government. Okay, next. We've got, where the hell was I? Sleazy says, lol, prednisone. I take 60 milligrams daily for my illness for the last 16 years. That stuff will ruin you. Not prednisone, prednisone. It's not prednisone, prednisone. I think. I don't know if it's the same thing, but Based Shaman says, I was so worried you weren't coming back to YouTube, but then I found this channel. Love is wishing the good of someone. Love you, brother. Hey, love you back, bass shaman. I don't know if I don't think you're the actual bass shaman, but that would be funny. But yeah, no, we'll be back on the main channel probably Friday. Otherwise, next week for sure. Nozaku says.
By the way, when your strike comes up, they don't just bring you in right away.
Huh?
When your strike, in other words, it's not like it goes. If you got a strike last Friday,
yeah,
you're probably not gonna be able to upload onto your channel until like at least Saturday.
Yeah, that's why I said maybe Friday. I just don't know when it'll get resolved.
It took them like almost a full day beyond my 7 days to get me up.
Yeah, they're catch you next Tuesdays at the end of this.
I mean, you have someone you can call, so unless
Not generally on a Friday after business hours, though.
No, that's true.
So I won't know. I literally won't know until Saturday or Sunday or Monday. That's what pissed me off so much about the timing of this, was that is the worst possible
like
day.
a week and a half later, yeah.
To maximize a full week and to give 3 days of my strike with no support, effectively Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Had to wait till Monday to hear anything to even get started. Nozaku says, been lurking since pre-Vic, long-time enjoyer, just had our first baby. Yeah!
Congrats.
Get it, buddy. Says, I love all you simps and chimps. Balls Futa is anatomically gay, so no matter how early, you're always Toye, biggest L, feeling the slap. Much love, Papa Joe, too.
Nice.
So there you go. Thank you, Nozaku. Nova Zero says, all this time, I'm over here not existing. And just now, Joe has revealed that you're fake. Nick, you've been holding out on us. What even is this? Razgriz.
That's about your fakealepsy.
I have real narcolepsy. Thank you. Razgriz Reborn says they are trying to stop giving aspirin for heart attacks for the general public because there's some data that it might reduce lung damage in COVID patients, allegedly. Look, I don't know anything about that. I have no idea about alleged damage or something like that. I've seen 2 doctors have come out and said that they should no longer recommend aspirin for people who are at risk for heart attacks. That's it that I've seen about it. So, oh wait, someone says I gotta check. How's this tweet doing? Oh, we're at 160 likes and 65 retweets on that.
Oh, nice. F you, Sanjay.
You know what would really make my day? If Sanjay Gupta himself replied to it.
Yeah.
That would be funny. God, that would.
I gotta share that also.
Okay. Let's see. Master Blast. Oh wait, Uncivil Law says this stream is a Jewish legal conspiracy. Literally.
Nice.
Master Blaster says, you have been here an hour and haven't been thrown out of a country yet. Jesus, Nick, why not make a crystal knocked joke while you're at it? Hey, we were in a heated debate. I can't be held responsible for my own words. I have narcolepsy.
That's true.
I was sleeping through that debate.
Yeah, I don't blame you.
Bad Vibe says, Griff level narcolepsy, falling asleep mid-super. No, that's never how mine has manifested. Thank God. I have fallen asleep driving. I don't do it very often, though. Generally,
I was terrified of doing that when I was driving back from Chicago. I was so terrified. What I found the antidote for long extended drives, for me at least, is blasting on my headphones hard 70s rock.
Hard 70s rock.
70s hard rock. Yeah.
Give me some examples of 70s hard rock.
Eve of Destruction. I don't know. I'll go to YouTube and I'll just put in like whatchamacallit, hard rock from the 70s, and you end up getting like Vietnam era type stuff. And yeah, it just worked for me. It's like I was like, oh wow, I haven't heard this song in a long time, and it just sort of keeps you like pumping while you're driving. So
gotcha. Yeah, the headphones, it's like a triple-edged sword in my car because I like to drive at night. I'm awake at night. That's my I'm a night owl in general. So I like to drive at night. Also, the kids go to sleep, so you don't have to stop and go to the bathroom every 10 seconds.
Yep.
Um,
And the
but
road's
then-
empty, so you can speed more.
Right. And so, but then, like, Lady Racket, like, I'll put on something in the car, but I have to be kind of careful because the kids might wake up. So I can't listen to, like, a really juicy podcast or
Use your
something.
headphones.
But see, that's illegal. And Lady Rackets is like a super rule follower. And she's like, you can't wear headphones while you drive. I'm like, why? I'm not listening to anything outside the car anyway.
Yeah, seriously.
And
The reason
and
you
it-
can't wear headphones when you drive is because, like, if you're like driving along a village road, so you hear some kid scream or whatever, jump in front of the car, you're not gonna be able to do anything about a noise. There's nothing aural with an AU that you're gonna respond to while you're driving 90 miles an hour. But does Lady Rackets mind if you drive 90?
Oh, yeah. I've always had a lead foot. I always drive very fast.
Okay.
But which is, although I think it does bother her that I do, because she is like, it's great. I love taking her because I used to work in downtown Minneapolis and downtown St. Paul, and in any downtown metro area. And it's certainly, this, working in New York or being near New York, even when you're in a downtown area, those little walk and don't walk signs, they don't matter.
No.
Those aren't real.
No.
You walk when there's no cars, and then you don't walk when there's cars. Like that's how it goes.
Yeah.
And so we'll be sitting there at a light, and I'm like, just walk across the damn road.
Like
It's
freaking
like-
Forrest Gump, like he's in the middle of crossing the street and it says "Don't walk," and he stops in the middle of the road.
Yeah.
like that's
It's like I can't. I will drag her into an intersection. No cars for days. And I'm like dragging her. I'm like, get into the fucking road so we can get to this restaurant. Oh my God. But yeah, so I know that like speeding bothers her, but yeah, the headphones thing, that would bother her. I've done it, but it annoys her. Generalissimo says, we are not his audience. He's put a curse on us. We're forced to type lol and laughing emojis constantly to help him appear amusing. I don't even know what a rhinoplasty is, let alone how to pay for it. Please, Joe, free us. Please. Bad Vibe says, how many temporary 9-year-old wives can an Islamic man have?
these are important questions.
don't
Temporary 9-year-old wives?
At least 3, right?
You would think so.
Bad Vibe says, the reason doctors practice medicine is because there is no perfection, and why medical experts is a lie. Mr. Anon says, Bo Snerdley has his own show on 77 WABC. I find it a lot like listening to Rush. His show is 1 hour a day and 2 hours on Saturday. Oh, he's got to get on that 3-hour grift. 5 days a week. You got to do it. Snuggle Struggle says there was a leftist-funded operated think tank studying misinformation in like 2015. They found that the main purveyors of consumers of propaganda were leftists, but leftists screamed and Google swept it under the rug. Lol. I believe it. Mandy Karavikas says, Joe and Nick, if your pants and underwear suddenly fall down onto the floor in the middle of the courtroom, what would you say to the judge, jury, witnesses, and opposing lawyers who are now screaming?
No further questions.
I would say, this is what you wanted. This is what you asked for. Now, I ask you to find my client not guilty. Wizard's first rule
Prepare
57
for
says,
Exhibit E.
kaboom. It's prepare for Exhibit D, Joe. Wizard's first rule 57 says kaboom. Let me see if there are any. I've got a bunch of chats to read, but it's really getting late, so I wanted to give you the opportunity to peacefully bow out if you need to. I don't ever want to keep you.
Yeah. I got I'm actually supposed to be on Legal Bites tomorrow at 11 a.m. So, which is 10 a.m. your time, and like 3 hours before you're going to wake up.
Yeah.
So,
she's been asking me to come on.
Yeah.
And it's for other reasons. It hasn't worked out the past couple times, but every time she's like,
reasons.
well, like she and I were she had invited me onto a show, and then I was like, I'm gonna see if I can make it, and she's like, actually, I have to travel, so I can't do it, and stuff like that. So that's what I mean for other reasons. But every time she sends me that thing, it's all early. I'm like, oh.
Yeah, you're looking at like 11 a.m. and like just 10 a.m. your time, and you're like, oh my god, that's like a court appointment. Jeez.
That's right. I don't want to be there. I don't want to do that. My next, I think my next court hearing's in like 2 p.m. coming up, so that's good.
Yeah, we've gotten
But,
more and more of those here in New York, the 2 p.m. shows. Those are great. Okay.
Well, yeah, I'll let you buzz out of here, man. I really appreciate
You guys,
you coming on. It's been too
I love
long.
coming on with you.
I know.
I love coming on with you. You guys, check out my channel. Just check
Hold
it
on.
out.
There's one.
We do good crap there.
There's
And hit the bell.
There's one just for you.
Yep.
Here.
There we go.
From Cars in Depth.
Huh?
He says, Joe, my ex is a seamstress. I've made chupa frames. They don't fall down. You can't trust Frummy Construction. By the way, when you were in Chicago, did you try Romanian?
Oh, that chuppah construction.
Chuppah.
Yeah.
Chuppah frames, yeah.
Yeah.
When you were in Chicago, did you try Romanian? Best deli meats in North America.
No, I didn't try Romanian. But yeah, as far as the construction thing, I'll keep you all posted. I'll keep you posted as to whether or not there's any sort of legal thing. And yeah.
You got to record your deposition. If nothing else, record it, review it, and if there's nothing like personally embarrassing.
I was talking
you
to one of
gotta
the
run it.
potential defendants, and what I'm very upset is I boomered the live stream of it. I didn't even get into that with you, but the live stream is not visible because when you live stream from your phone, after you finish the live stream, I'll cut out of here after this. After you finish the live stream from your phone, so I just end it. I clicked end, and I'm like, this thing should automatically upload. That's what happens when we end the live stream here. But for one reason or another, so I did that, and then I came back to it 20 minutes later, and when I tried closing out, I want to sort of pull up the stream that I figured had processed up. So when I go into YouTube on my phone, it's basically asking me, like, do you want to start a new live stream? And I'm like, no, hell, I don't want to start a second live stream now. So I hit discard, and the next thing I know, they say, oh, you just discarded that stream you did 20 minutes ago. And I'm like, are you out of your freaking minds? I was like so angry about it because I was like, I really want to see like what happened. Like I want to see the Anglo thing as I'm like pushing that thing over.
Okay, I'm seeing how this happened. Okay, yeah. Oh man, it's so weird, guys. Like all of the evidence of me pushing over a thing,
mysteriously gone. It is
just
crazy.
I don't even know what happened. Look, I live stream all the time. I'm fresh. This is the weirdest thing I've ever encountered. It's who even knew you could?
I was having a
phone?
Conversation. I bummed a cigarette from a guy who was like a potential defendant. He's like the caterer there, and he was talking. I heard him talking on the phone, and he's like, "How the hell can you not set it up in a way with which it's not going to fall over? What am I supposed to tell his mother? He's describing my sister. He's like, what am I supposed to tell her? Should I buy her flowers? Should I get her chocolate? What do you think I should do with her to like make her happy here? Because like, you know." And I was like, at this point, I was just learning that she was like somewhat injured. I didn't think it was that serious. But yeah, she's getting X-rays.
All I got to
now.
say to the deposing lawyer out there, if you need a copy of this live stream, I will not actually accidentally delete all of this evidence against my good friend Joe.
You'll just like fall asleep in the middle and forget that you're here, and just it'll never process right. All right. Good night, fake epilepsy. It was a lot of fun.
Good night, buddy. Always a blast. And let me know when I can come crash your stream again.
I will. I will.
And because it's always fun chatting. So
take care, brother.
Later, buddy.
Peace.
Okay. Always great to have Joe on the stream. I like that, man. He's a good man. He seems like a good man. I guess I don't technically know, but he seems like a good man. Okay, so we've got some justice chats and super chats to go through here. Let's go. Brandon says in Trump voice, "Hey, Joe, what's the worst insult towards Jews? Capo or mamzer? And should people call Jews who support vaccine mandates very shameful and hate informed consent capo or mamzer?" I don't know. I actually don't know what those mean. Are those bad Jewish insults? I've never heard of either of them. Philip Booty says, your last two videos on this channel have chat history. I disabled them, so I better go back and look at them. Also, all these people, POTUS, CNN, FDA, etc., talking about horse paste, all think Africans and Mexicans are animals because it's only for animals, right? Yet they take it. Yeah. Oh yeah. It's been It's been terrible. Overt disinformation coming from politicians and other people about medical information that doesn't conform with a specific narrative. And to me, that's the real misinformation. Like the fact that there's a concerted campaign against a drug that has potential, and I really don't think it has anything to do with the drug itself. I don't think they're like anti-ivermectin specifically, just that they're so worried that people will find an alternative to the quote unquote approved medication. That's what I think the target is. I mean, if it wasn't ivermectin, if it was amoxicillin or something like that, I think they would take the same approach. Because there is a government effort, and let's be charitable and simply say that the government believes that vaccine mandates or vaccine compliance or whatever is the best, most effective treatment that's out there. So they want to take the focus off of other potential treatments because they don't want people not doing this thing. The government actually has the full right and ability to promote a preferred method of treatment. They do it all the time with all sorts of medical issues. There's nothing wrong with that. And my position has always been clear. I am anti-mandate. I'm not anti-medicine. I'm not anti-promotion. I'm not anti anything like that. I'm just opposed to government compelling action in a person in all instances. Even when I agree with the action, and to analogize this simply, everyone in my car has to wear a seatbelt before I will start driving. They have to, because I have direct connections to people who have experienced very, very horrific car accidents and specific deaths caused by not wearing seatbelts. And so, and it's not the person who wasn't wearing the seatbelt who was at risk, by the way. They lived. It was the person that they crushed. And since people sit behind, like my wife, I don't want them to crush her because they're not wearing a seatbelt. So but I am fully opposed to seatbelt mandates, 100%. I mean, I wear a seatbelt. I think everybody in my car should wear a seatbelt, but I'm opposed to compulsory government action. It doesn't make sense to me that is a thing. I feel like the argument about seatbelts is good enough on its own. But anyway, so that's an analogy, I guess. And so, it's not 100% linear application to vaccine mandates, but I oppose mandates, but I'm not opposed to vaccines in general. I'm not even particularly opposed to this one. I think people need to make those decisions on their own. I'm talking way too much about these subjects. I'm going to get banned forever. Stupid fucking YouTube. YouTube, I am not actually making medical. Let me give all the contravailing statements every single time. I'm not actually telling people what to do about this thing. They need to talk to their own doctors. I'm not a doctor. I'm a lawyer. And that's why I'm talking about mandates, because mandates are legal issues. And often mandates have absolutely nothing to do with a particular result of data. Mandates very frequently run both with data and adverse to data, and that's just how it goes. It's the nature of politics. Yogi Bear and Boo Boo says, "Hey Boo Boo, check this out. I got us something that's gonna make us rich."
What's that? What is all this, Uncle Yogi?
It's called crypto mining, Boo Boo. This is how we're gonna make it big. Hey now, what's all this? You'll never take me alive, you feds. Okay, that was weird. You can't talk about crypto. You want to know about a real verboten subject on YouTube? Crypto. You want the channels that get the most inexplicable instant terminations are ones that are talking about crypto stuff. I don't talk about crypto stuff because I'm stupid on crypto. Everybody, you guys all make fun of me on that all the time. So I don't talk about it and promote it, but there's some like secret rule on YouTube where if you are promoting crypto, you are promoting like unnecessary risky behavior or something, and they ban channels. They Thanos snapping crypto channels left and right. So I don't talk about it because I'm an idiot, but man, I've seen people get just tossed from it lately. And all you guys who understand, I mean, there are people making millions of dollars, and I'm just over here not making millions of dollars because I don't, like I don't have time to look into it, and it's not for me. I wish I would have been mining crypto my whole life. I wish would have been mining crypto before it was invented. That's how you really get the money. Rees1 says, "Hey Nick, so life goes from bad to worse. Nick's viewers, listen and don't allow this to happen to you. So I go out for the first time in over a week. In an elevator, a sign is posted. Proof of double vaccination is now mandatory to all residents. I have not gotten the shot personally because I was told not safe to do so for me. Call my doctor and let her know, and her advice is, I guess your choice is homelessness or maybe death. Exemptions not given to my age. I'm 31, HIV positive, and not on ARTs currently. Government reducing unhealthy from the population ABH." Damn. Well, good luck. Good luck, buddy. Wish I knew what to tell you on that one. Brandon says, "Can Laundry take a plea deal on the bank fraud long enough to pass the statute of limitations on the death of Petito?" There is no statute of limitations on murder in any state. Manslaughter statute of limitations can be really long. I don't know how long they are in this case, because there's questions about what jurisdiction it'll be. Is this a federal murder case? Is this a Wyoming state murder case? Is this a Florida murder case? Like what's it going to be? I think that's going to be fact specific, but or are they manslaughter cases? Who knows? But probably not. I was going to jokingly tell Joe, well, Brian Laundrie should offer to cooperate on the bank fraud charges by getting immunity on a murder charge. But that was a joke. Cal Clay says 2 things. Number 1, 72 virgins is you get to hell and see the 72 previous bombers. Number 2, solved can sue ham sandwich by a teacher who told me any student that says that is informed they can, but teacher will defend ham and student will pass or fail the course at the end of it. There you go. Cum Guzzler 404 says, "This is a Drex question. He has choked a bitch or 10. Ask him. Real answer. Breath/choke play needs an in-depth discussion before play begins. Once unconsciousness happens, play stops. No ifs, buts, or maybes. Play ends." Well, I think some people would disagree with you. That's the weird thing. I don't know. I think some people might disagree. But what do I know? I'm a normie. I'm just a me. Cal Clay says, "Remember when the Young Turks had a story about Hillary's speech was racist? She said, bring them in to heal, not heal, but HEEL. Also, digital movies are being edited and no one cares. Spider-Man 2 ending changed for continuity of No Way Home with bad CGI portal as Doc sinks. Ugh." Well, I mean, I think your first issue is caring about Marvel movies. No, I'm joking. I'm downplaying that. That actually is a real problem with digital products, digital books. Remember the first book that Amazon removed from the Kindle and actually went in and retroactively deleted from everybody's Kindle who had it was 1984, because of course it was. And that was the most beautiful thing. By the way, we are at 910 likes. I don't know that we're going to get to 1,000 likes on this stream, but we are at 910, and I will still, of course, fulfill my obligation to drink liquor at 1,000 likes. Not so handsome Slayer says Ricada Media is fake news. I wouldn't trust it. Very, very rude. Very, very rude. Digitalis says, I gotta admit, Joe owns that Ralph a whole lot more gracefully than Ralph owns that shart. He does. 200 Watt Studio says, oh, now you're calling the chat dumb. Yes. Yes, I am. Now I'm retaliating against the chat. Eldon Bainling says, I keep typing that we should put all Democrats on a train to an unknown destination. I don't know why YouTube would strike your channel for that. Woo. To a final destination? Lacus1236547 says, hey, Nick, when are you planning to cover recent Null stuff? He asked for $11,000 in fees and $9,000 appeal bond against Mel. I hadn't seen it. I'll check it out. That sounds good. Tinudan Sawbone says RGE sends his platonic love. Have a good night. Well, I send it back. I send it back to him. 200 Watt Studio says, Nick, you for or against circumcising your nose? How dare you? How dare you, you motherfucker? Suck It says, really, Rackets? It's me, Suck It. I'm mod material. You may be. You may be. I'm not denying you your mod status. Joel Reese says, I feel oppressed by the Cinema Queen. Well, the Cinema Queen is now gay. I am a miracle worker. Cinema Queen says, I bought 1984 on Kindle and physical. I still can read my digital copy. Yes, there was a specific digital edition that Amazon later found out they did not have license to distribute, and they pulled that digital edition despite people having made the purchase. But it wasn't all copies of 1984. It was all copies of that edition of 1984. It was just the fact that it happened to be 1984 was funny. That's what it was. Timothy Reaper says, well, Nick, you heard Vito. Time to make baby. Thomas, no, I'm done. No more babies. I love all my children very much, and I want 0 more of them. Thomas Finton says, Papa Ree, thoughts on there being term limits for judges and other executively appointed officials? Thoughts on Project Veritas versus the New York Times case? Executively appointed officials tend to have some term limits. As far as judges, federal judges do not. Federal judges, appellate court judges, and Supreme Court judges do not have term limits on them. Or I guess they don't have terms. I should say other executive appointed officials have terms. They don't have term limits. I think there should be term limits on everybody. Federal judges, yeah, I think I'm for limiting terms. I'm not for lifetime appointments. The lifetime appointment thing isn't actually holding up to its purpose. That's the issue. For whatever reason, we're no longer honoring the reason that they did lifetime appointments in the first place. That we're not getting the dividends that's supposed to pay, and that is a Supreme Court that's unafraid of the political fallout. We've got a Supreme Court that's specifically afraid of the political fallout, and federal judges that are specifically embracing the political fallout of their decisions. So that's why I want that. Thoughts on Project Veritas versus New York Times? I haven't seen anything new in it recently. Last I heard, we're entering, discovery, and the New York Times will have to be deposed. And I really can't wait. I want those depositions to be made public as soon as possible. Those are the ones I really want to see, the deposition of like Maggie Astor and her boss and all that stuff. The gray one says, evening, Nick, how goes the recovery? Very well. The steroids are really helping, I can tell. Also, as someone who watches Tim, he is ambitious, but for all his grandstanding, he demands sacrifice where he never does. He decries censorship, but monetizes YouTube. Look, I decry censorship and monetize YouTube as well. I don't think anybody should fall at the altar of poverty for the principle of being opposed to censorship, because then you defeat all anti-censorship speech with just a little bit of censorship. And then the people are like, well, I can't self-censor, so I can't speak. And it's like, well, that doesn't make sense. We can try and work within the structures of censorship and talk about censorship. Like, we can do that and point out where we can't do it. So I actually don't have a problem with that. I wasn't talking about Tim Pool's particular ambition. I was talking about some people ambitiously want to go on to shows to increase exposure for themselves. I actually don't. Like, believe me, I want to grow the show. I want to I want people to find out about me and come to the show. I want them to do that, but I'm not going to like chase that and make that the purpose. And so if I'm going on a show and doing a show, it's not because of the view numbers or the popularity of the host. It's literally, is the subject interesting? Can I talk about it? Do I have good enough chemistry with the person? And do I have time? Like if those things match up, I'm going to try and do the show. And I don't care if it's a 1 million subscriber show or a 100 subscriber show. It all matters on timing and the ability to have a good chat. That's it. Because at the end of the day, even if the other show has no audience, right? Like a lot of you guys are going to show up and watch anyway. And so the chat's going to win. And that's important. We Tune TOC says, that's not a nose. That's a schnabel. FM says, Nikki, the greatest reward for us instead of the jacket would be for you to stop the stream and go to sleep. Vest goal hit. Good night. Go to sleep. Eldritch Blasted says, uncivil law versus good logic drinking death match. I can't host that. I'd be liable for whoever died. Timothy Reaper says, time for DSP style new Christ baby goal. You know how much that goal would be? Kids are expensive as shit. Kids are expensive as shit. I don't know, man. I would feel bad putting the chat up to that. Your mental illness is careful with the prednisone, Nick. Last time I was on it, they prescribed too much and I started retaining fluid and swelled up like a balloon. Again, I think it's prednisone. Maybe I didn't read the label right. I don't remember, but I only have 5 days worth. That's it. So I think I'll be okay. CJ says, for Joe, ancient recitations on YouTube. It's Sargon reading ancient middle-aged stories. The Prince was pretty good. A few walking tours, etc. K Cash 72 says, Joe, any lawyer would tell you not to say anything. What hand? Philip Booty says, Nick getting drowned out by Joe's background noise. Yeah, what was that? What was going on in the background? What was that? Matt K says, of course, the audit doesn't matter for 2020. The point is to make sure whatever BS may have occurred can't be done again. Let's go, Brandon. Right. The audit, the purposes of the audit are to change the laws and plug any potential gaps. Audits find gaps if they exist. That's the idea of them. And then they provide information to decision makers to plug gaps for the next time, if they so choose. Uncivil Law says, good logic is a better drinker than you will ever be, Nick. A lot, pretty much everybody is. I'm a terrible drinker. Terrible drinker. You guys say 1K? Oh, it finally crossed over. It was sitting at 999. I am not a heavy liquor drinker at all. It's the magic of YouTube. I've talked about this for years. It looks like I drink a whole lot more than I do. And I'm fine letting people believe that, especially when I do have a semi-hostile interview and they're like, haha, this drunk. And it's like, okay, yeah, I'm definitely toasted. Oh yeah, I'm on like my 15th drink now. I like that. It's worked out in my favor several times. Actually. Joel Reese says Nick's nose would prevent him from drowning in soup. Yep. Absolutely. I would fall face first in it, but my face would never hit the bottom of the bowl or even get into the liquid. I'm drinking this Willet Rye still. Willet Rye. Man, I need to clip these fucking fingernails. Wick Dipper says expert in narcolepsy and brain bleeds. Nice. Brain bleeds. Oh, Joe. Oh, no. That's rude. That's rude. Joshua Sanabria says Nick's a sleepy boy. That's true. Backgoat says fake epilepsy. Now I got to sue Joe for slander. Matthew Harder says, hey, Nick, As much as we make fun of Frisbee Hat for puking, he tried to make sure you weren't sacrificed by an Iranian fatwa last time. All due respect. No, Joe's great. I'm not making fun of him for puking. It was the funniest thing that could have possibly happened, but we've all been there. Crusader Saracen says, Sheh Hashem Yivarek Atcha Joe. You see the size of the schnoz on the Turkish guy. Magnificent. It is beautiful. Tony Neve says, what % gay is the Federal Unemployment Tax Act? 100% gay. Cinema Queen, they sneak up on me. They really do. My nails will go really fast sometimes. I don't know why. It's probably a mix of something I ate or whatever. Rob Lee says, Joe had a Netflix deal too. Genius. There you go. Thomas Finton says, nah, those are what we call Chinese bot and spam accounts crafted by MSN and big tech to artificially inflate the appearance of supposed celebs. Talking about the 2.5 million followers of Sanjay or whatever. Crusader Saracen says, publishing houses don't make money, Joe. It's a money laundering scheme where book advances are payoffs for political allies. Remember Christina Ford. Oh, yeah. Well, and Hillary Clinton, she got like a $900,000 advance. It's like, bitch, please. Snuggle Struggle says, Kamala Harris's children's book was being bought by our tax dollars and being given to the illegal immigrant children brought over the border. Crime? Nope. Perfectly legal and legitimate. Everything's fine because it was done by Kamala Harris. Thomas Fenton says, there's the difference between legit followings whose amount of activity match their numbers and an astroturf turds that run on corpo cash and bots in order to create/push an artificial narrative. Wolfgang Deo says, let's go, Brandon. Thomas Finton says, we also got to keep in mind that many of the supposed bestsellers bought are not by people, but the very same corpos these experts have that are backing them. It's another form of soft power. Well, yeah, if you can sell 20,000 copies to Barnes & Noble, because Barnes & Noble has, like an automatic deal that certain Simon & Schuster books are going to get purchased and sent to all their stores, you win. You win. Wolfgang Deo says, we already spent all this time talking about trannies. We get it. We know. Let's move on. Left. At this point, they are losing their ground faster. Bad Burrito says, come to Hillary. Good logic. That would be a first in human history. Now, listen. I did not have sex with that woman. Not a single time. Chelsea is definitely the result of a sperm jacking. And I've been too afraid to leave this cold bitch. Because you all saw what happened to Seth Rich when he tried to get away. Tomorrow VI says, a shill for book, quote, What Really Happened in Wuhan by Sherry Markson. Check that out if you want to. Check that out. Eldon Bainling says, wait, Joe has a channel? What the fuck? That's new. People should check it out. Mandy Karavika says, what are your phone numbers? My work phone number is listed on Google. And anybody is welcome to find it. I most likely will not answer your call. Ask anybody who's called me. I don't answer. I don't answer friends. I don't answer family. I hate phones. When a phone rings, I turn the ringer off, by the way. But when a phone rings, my phone could have not rang in a month. And if it rings, I'd be like, why are people calling me every fucking day? I hate phone ringing. I hate it. Hate it. I don't like phones. I don't want to talk. The answer is no. I never want to talk. Oh, I had a lawyer calling me today, and I was like, I don't want to talk to you. I don't want to answer I'm not in this case. I don't want anything to do with this. I don't want anything to do with it. Nothing I want more to hear. I want to hear from anybody on earth other than a lawyer. Oh, Jesus. Thomas Finton says, I appreciate the science of the shekels being talked here. Reminds me of Star Trek Deep Space Nine if two Ferengi were talking rules of acquisition in depth. I should do, someday I need to do a series on YouTube monetization. and just really break it down. I don't know. I feel like people might watch that. But then again, maybe they wouldn't. Like maybe YouTube wouldn't distribute it because YouTube really fucking hates me sometimes. There's no link to Good Logic? There's not? There isn't. Oh shit, I lied. Why are you the first person who noticed? You guys are a bad chat. There is now. I swear I had every intention of linking his channel. I think he's still got some subscribers already, but Tony Neve says the reason Ruth Ginsburg Bader finally died is because Jeffrey Epstein is no longer allowed to provide children for her phylactery. I think that's true. Did you guys see the new news that Katie Couric censored Ruth Bader Ginsburg in her interview because RBG was opposed to taking the knee for like BLM shit and stuff like that? And Katie Couric just went ahead and was like, "Oh, I didn't want people to know that about her." Whoops. Whoops. Nix Hex says real men listen to Dillinger escape plan to drive. Trico Blunt says, I got the Amazon tool. World War C has estimated 432 sales a month. He loses half his profit in service fees, about $3,000 a month if sales don't dip. Oh, geez, that's a bad. Again, this is CNN's top doctor writing a book with the entire force of CNN behind him. 432 sales a month. Hold on. I'm going to grab that super chat and send it to Joe. I got to text it to him before I forget. Sent. Here we go. Just wanted to do that before I forget, like when I forgot to put his channel link in the description. Oh, what an asshole I am. Delete your tweet making fun of Shantanu. Why? Malik Foxon says, still not much to say. Super busy today, so had you in the background for both streams. Here's for some for the entertainment. Hey, thanks, buddy. Saw you over on Quarter Black show, so thank you for showing up over there. Jason the Great Awakening says, don't like being forced into stuff that is ridiculous. What is this? Some kind of anti-communist channel? It is. It is. Communists deserve the wall. All of them. Jason the Great Awakening says, why has Ralph memory hold sniffing his poop finger? Does he have contact with the cabal to make it so? I've no idea. Again, when people bring up Ralph, I will tend to say the same thing. I didn't follow Ralph before he freaked out at me. I don't like follow his antics. I followed him on Twitter, but I don't like pay attention to what he does. I've never really found Ralph to be all that interesting to me. He covers topics and people that I'm not super interested in most of the time. Every time someone asked me about something said on the kill stream, I never saw it. I didn't see it. It was not, he's not been an interesting subject to me literally ever. And that continues today. He had his little moment. I had my rebuttal. And for me, it's over. And I'm very happy to literally never really talk about Ralph again until the results of his court cases, which I think the audience will find interesting. And, whatever I will be able to talk about, I will on those fronts. But until those things actually resolve, there's not much to say. His day-to-day stuff, I just really don't. God, just do not. I don't know why anybody finds him interesting. Crusader Saracen says DSP style. What baby zone? What? Michael Dixon says guns don't kill peds. I do. No one important says, did you hear that Kamala's little space trip with the kids was all orchestrated? Hilarious since the kids were better actors than her. Yes, Kamala had her interview with a bunch of children, and it turns out the children were literally auditioned actors for it. Wow. Wow. Jason of the Great Awakening says, will the blatant money laundering scams end before or during the military tribunals under the Nuremberg Code? After. They'll end after. Ty Sloan says, how come a lot of voice actors are liberals? All they push is trans rights and crap. The reason why is because they hire their own. It's just there's nothing particularly nefarious about it. It's just in-group, out-group preference. They prefer people in their in-group who have the same political positions, same social positions that they have. They take exceedingly safe as far as cancelability social positions, and then anyone who runs against those, they just decry them. And the best part is when they start to eat their own. Like, have you guys seen what's going on with CB Cebulski? I think it's his name. Turns out this is a Marvel editor, CB Cebulski. Turns out he had a pen name where he penned as an Asian manga fan or something like that, and got some writing gigs doing that when he technically shouldn't have been able to have those writing gigs due to his like employment agreement. And people are some of them are starting to be very mad, even though this has been known, I guess, since like 2017, if people had been paying attention. But now some random Marvel writer has taken a stand and will no longer work with Marvel until CB Cebulski resigns. Who knows how that'll end up working out. I like to see them infighting, but the idea, let me say this. When I was a writing major, okay, cultural appropriation by a pen name was not only not taboo, it's literally recommended. They're like, and let's do it this way. Don't have a white name. If you are John Smith and you want to be published by a literary publisher, pick a different ethnicity, pick an Asian name, pick a Hispanic name, pick something else, because no publisher out there wants to publish the whitest name you've ever heard. They don't want to. In fact, there were writers who, like women who married Asian men, maybe in part because their last names would suddenly be Asian, and that would give them an advance on their ability to get a book published. This is just how the industry works. The funny thing is, CB Cebulski, aside from potential contractual breaches, right? Like if he wasn't allowed to work on other Marvel properties outside of his editing field, and then he used a pen name to subvert that, that's a contract problem. But the cultural appropriation problem, that's not only not controversial in the writing world, it's standard fucking practice and has been for at least 3 decades, really more like 5 to 10 decades, because the publishing industry has been woke forever, and they would much rather publish an ethnic sounding name than a white sounding name. That's just how it is. It's not good or bad, but this is what I like, is now they're all conflicted on this, as if this is somehow a big deal all of a sudden. Oh, they knew about this. They knew about this. But anyway, that why the voice actors are all sort of homogenous in their political and social beliefs and professations is, well, they've been weeding out everybody else. And the way that Funimation works, hiring and casting decisions are made by the group. like by people in the group get elevated from voice actor to ADR director or whatever for a particular production. So it's this, there's not like a board of people. It's not a typical corporate structure in how hiring and casting decisions work on these things. It's literally a group of friends hiring themselves and each other. So that's why. And then Ty Sloan follows up with, is liberalism and progressives good or bad? Classic liberalism is good. Classic liberalism is just about freedom, personal and individual freedom. That's fine. It's not a political party, and it's also doesn't exist anymore. Progressivism is, as generally speaking, is bad. Progressivism is the idea of forcing unpopular ideas by pounding the hammer against the anvil until you've changed the next generation. That means that the bad idea will outlive the people who oppose the bad idea, and the next generation will think it's good simply because they hear it over and over. That doesn't change it from being a bad idea. Dan Platt says the Gupta book has only been out for 8 days. Yeah, doesn't mean it shouldn't be selling better. If it's on pace for 400 copies a month, that means it's really not selling that well at all. You would expect there to be an initial consumption bump on something like this. Or I would. And I mean, again, just look at independent creators like in Comicsgate and elsewhere. They get big bumps in 2 spots, the beginning of a campaign and the end of a campaign. There is no end of a campaign for a traditionally published book, right? He's not crowdfunding this thing. So it's your beginning campaign and then a quick drop off and a decline for forever. And if anybody sees this, no, I did not try to go down the road. My cat was being a fucker, and so he scratched my wrist. So but yeah, no, those and that initial week sales should be the strongest sales he'll ever receive. Samurai Knight says, it's a little late, but since you mentioned commies, happy Otoya Yamaguchi Day. Oh, I forgot to mention it. You're right. The man saved all of Japan through his bravery. Look it up, Nick, base as fuck. Yes, there was a socialist. There was a popular socialist Japanese politician who was rising very quickly. And Otoya Yamaguchi was a student who was vehemently opposed to communism, snuck up on stage, and literally samurai sworded this potential socialist monster to death. He politically assassinated him. I am not a supporter of political assassinations or political violence. However, it bears noting that socialism and communism have never taken root in Japan after that guy was straight murdered on stage. Pretty crazy stuff. And there's pictures, and I think there's a video of it, so you can check that out. Michael Dixon says, to be honest, will you honestly be my lawyer on the fact that I did not kill those orcs in D&D? No, I can't I cannot support your bigotry. You killed orcs, you bastard. Jason the Great Awakening says, how come you know so much about the sating couch, Nick? Did Harvey Weinstein reject you? Do you mean the casting couch? Yeah, well, my butthole does not open for Weinstein fingers. So Ty Sloan says, I support what you do. Keep it up. I support Vic. Shouldn't have gotten attacked by Monica like that. Also, I hope more conservative VAs come out. They're afraid. They're terrified of coming out in any way right now. They will not. But that being said, I'll mention this again tomorrow. Vic is at DeadCon this weekend, which is in Fort Wayne, Indiana. If you're in the Indiana area, if you've heard about DeadCon, Vic will be a guest at DeadCon. They have stuck by him through the bullshit, and they're happily hosting him. So if you're in Indiana, you want to see Vic this weekend, that's where to see him. Next weekend, he will be down in Georgia at the Star Trek Continues studio. Again, if you're anywhere near Kingsland, Georgia, which is right across the border from Florida, on the East Coast there, it's a great experience, whether you like Star Trek or not. It's really fun. Vic does a great tour, and people should go check that out if they like it. It's a fun thing. The city is competent enough to have some good restaurants as well, and that'll be next weekend. Philibooty says, Nick, ask Lady Rackets if Bluetooth hands-free earphones are illegal. If not, problem solved. I think they are. If you're wearing both headphones, I believe that the rationale is it obscures your ability to respond to emergency vehicles, and that is illegal. That might be a Minnesota thing. Reese1 says, since Superman is gay now, think he comes like Hancock. If so, damn, I wonder what Superman does with all the one-night stand corpses he creates each weekend. Probably just has Craigslist ads looking for NSA, then heat raise them when they orgasm, pure ecstasy. Remember, he's bi, not gay, you bigot. He will rip a man's anus into, or a woman in her anus or vagina. He will rip her into as well. He's an equal opportunity ass ripper. Kid Actor says, everyone sucking sand. Finally, Not Applicable says, you cover what YouTube is covering up, suspending Crowder. Yes, we talked about it a little bit. I might talk about it more tomorrow, more in depth, and pull up the thing. But I had Joe on, and we had gotten into some other topics, so I didn't get too far into it. Thomas Fenton says, speaking of Star Trek, what rules of acquisition are ones you think people abide by on an average day, and which ones to your own knowledge do you like? I don't know what the rules of acquisition are, but if I remember right, the rules of acquisition, one of the rules is literally, if there isn't a rule of acquisition, make up a rule. That's my favorite one. Ty Sloan says, do you think California will ever leave the union, since eventually independent comics and stuff will eventually replace Hollywood? Sad to say. No, I don't think California is going to leave the union. If there is a leaving of the union, it will be a big split. I don't think California is going anywhere. Michael Dixon says, super honest, this time your band was gay. It was and continues to be. Thank you. I appreciate it. Okay, guys, that's the show. That's the show. Really appreciate you guys hanging out as always. I really can't wait to be back on the main channel. Again, look for some good guest appearances once we're back on the main channel. Legal, not what the hell is his name? Legal Mindset. We're gonna have Legal Mindset. We're gonna have Styx Hexenhammer. Hopefully, I'll be able to get Gothic X on. I would love to get Jack Murphy. These are all people I'm working on, and we've got some other topics as well. So we'll see you soon. Ryan, in case I was supposed to respond to you and I didn't, because I'm a jackass, I'll try and respond either tonight or tomorrow. Twitch. Oh, it's already 3. If we go to Twitch, we're watching Blue Mountain State. Because I'm not going to. I just don't know if I can do an hour-and-a-half movie. We'll see. Go to bed. Go to bed. I think I really should go to bed, in all honesty. I think I really should. I picked up Dead Before Daylight or whatever. You know what I'm talking about. The new Left 4 Dead game, or something like Left 4 Dead. So that's going to be tomorrow, I think. I think that's going to be tomorrow. Dead by Daylight. Back for Blood? Is it Back for Blood? Yeah, Back for Blood. I picked it up well, it was free because I have the Xbox Game Pass. But I definitely picked it up because the zombies run around yelling the N-word, and that makes me happy. But yeah, it was free, so I clicked download. But yeah, I'll probably play that maybe tomorrow. So all right, guys. I'll catch you next time. I don't have you want to know a secret? YouTube really only polices the first 2 hours of anything. So let's do this.
Why you think you done it?
Okay, number one, Your Honor. Just look at him.
He talks like a fag, too.
There you go. They get really tired. They get really tired after reviewing 2 hours of a stream, and they kind of stop. They stop paying attention. Cal Clay says, Justice Chat just sent. Why didn't you just send a super chat instead of a Justice Chat followed by a super chat? Oh, man. Reese1 says, why is it leftists decried the Will Smith movie about orcs allegory for black people? Bright, you're talking about. But then a few years later called black people orcs in fantasy. What a fucked up world. Yeah. These people, they don't have consistency. They don't have consistency. That's why. All right, guys. I am out. I really need to figure out. I can't play just a sound clip of My Room Records, so I've got to get a video clip to play of it. Maybe I'll have someone put together a video for the My Room Records song. Oh wait, this is important. I'm no bitch. I'm gonna finish this drink. I poured it. I better make sure I finish it on stream. There you go. All right, guys. We'll catch you later. Have a good night. Peace. Peace.